With a piece in my hand and bloodshot eyes, I walked to the water for a last goodbye. He begged so much, it clouded my mind. One thing's clear, the man's gotta die. Might makes right, so he said, when he held all the keys over our head. I lived in that grip, but now he'll learn at the end with the tables turned. Lord, forgive me and take me on down the river where the guilt can't find a red-handed sinner. On where the grave can't cry out, 'cause I done wrong. Down the river with a hand on a Colt and a finger on the trigger, and long before dawn they try to find me. So take me on down. Take me on down. Well, I sank that body by the riverbank, caught a boat sap, took off like a hurricane. With spotlights, dogs, hit the whole 9 yards, of breathing down my neck and breathing hard. 2 weeks in a wild chase across the highways, mountains, over 7 states. Found a man at the harbor, said that he could take me across the ocean somewhere far away. Lord, forgive me and take me on down the river where the guilt can't find a red-handed sinner. On where the grave can cry out, 'cause I done wrong. Down the river with a hand on a Colt and a finger on the trigger, and long before dawn they try to find me. So take me on down. Take me on down.
Hello everyone, welcome to day 3 of the round of 8 of the ASL season 8. And today we have a stellar TVT match coming up, and it is a TVT match between Flash and Light. And we'll see who gets to the round of 4 between these two amazingly good term players. And we're gonna have an interview with them. Hello.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
자, 먼저 이영호 선수와 이야기
So
나눠보겠습니다. 16강에 워낙 좀 완벽한
And
경기력으로
you've shown immaculate performance in the round of 16.
오늘 이제 8강 경기를 앞두고
And
계신데
ahead of
이재호
the round of
선수와의
8 match.
대진이 완성됐을 때는 좀
And after
기분이
your
어떠신가요?
match with Light was confirmed, how did you feel?
재호 형 쉽진 않은
Well,
상대니까.
Light is a formidable opponent.
근데 저는 항상 제 컨디션에 따라서 제 컨디션만 좋으면
My game performance kind of varies according to my
대진을 보고
condition.
뭐 딱히 많은 생각이 들거나 그렇지
So I
않아요.
didn't have a lot of thoughts going into my
과연
mind.
이재호 선수는 이영호 선수와의
And
대진이 완성되고
as
좀
for you,
어떤 기분이
Light,
들었을지
how did you feel
궁금해지는데
after
사실 7시즌 만에
match
또 8강에
against
진출하셨잖아요.
Flash was confirmed?
이영호 선수와의 경기를 앞두고 사실 이번
So,
시즌
ahead of
제대로 좀
today's
주인공이
game,
될 수도 있는
This
기회라는
might
생각이
be
들 것
your
같거든요.
chance to make it to the next level.
선수와 대진이 결정되고 난 다음에
After my game was
잠을 못
confirmed,
잤거든요.
I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia.
제 머릿속에 아무리 시뮬레이션을
And I tried all these simulations
다 맞고
going up
이길 것
against
같은 거예요.
Flash, and it felt like I was going up
며칠
against
잠을 못 자면서
a wall,
굉장히 좀 생각을
and I
많이
couldn't
했는데
sleep,
오늘 좀
and a lot of thoughts
잘
went through my mind. And I hope today
이재호
my plan
선수의
works well.
불면이 저 때문인 게 아닌가 하는 생각이 들어서 좀 마음이 안 좋은데, 자, 다전제에서의 이영호 선수는
So,
정말 무서운
in a best
포스를
of
가지고
series,
있는데
Flash
사실
is a
16강
monster in that.
경기 전에 정말 나는 자신이 있지만 그럴 때마다 한 번씩
But you said
질
that
때가
you
있어서
have the
사실 좀
confidence,
불안한
but
마음이
you
들기도
said
한다.
that
이런
every
얘기를
now and then you
하셨잖아요.
kind of slip.
오늘도 아까 전에 본인의 컨디션이 가장
So,
중요하다고 얘기를 하셨는데
You did mention
오늘의
that condition is
컨디션은
very important.
어떤지
How's your
궁금합니다.
condition today, Flash?
컨디션은 나쁘지 않은 것
My condition is
같고
not that bad.
제가 항상 맞아요. 좀 모두가 이긴다고 생각했을 때
And
많이
when people all
거꾸라졌는데
expect me to win,
근데
I
오늘은
slip.
솔직히 연습을 많이 못했어요.
And
재호 형이
today I couldn't practice
연습
much.
상대를 저한테 한명 몽이만 딱 남아서
I
몽이를
only had
섭외했는데
Mong as a scrim
아프리카
partner.
BJ 중에 테란 6명을 다 섭외해갔더라고요. 그래서
So yeah, all my scrim
제
partners were
연습을 그렇게
stolen,
많이는 솔직히
so I
못했는데
couldn't scrim much.
제 연습 상대는 몽이와 그리고 컴퓨터.
So my opponent in scrim was Mong and computer.
자, 이 이영호 선수의 대답을 다시 얘기하자면 이재호 선수 정말 필사적으로
So like you
준비를 하신
probably,
것 같아요.
prepared
6명의
fiercely
테란을 정말
ahead of today's
다
match.
섭외하셨나요?
솔직히 그렇게까지 될지 몰랐는데 계속 듣다 보니까
Well, you know,
영호가 뭐 도와달라는 말을 안 했다고
Flash didn't really ask for help.
그래서 이거 웬걸 내가 해야지 이러고
So I just
그렇게
I
잡다
scrimmed with all these term
그렇게 된
players,
것 같아요.
and I think that's
그렇다면
how it
이재호
turned out.
선수의 이 8강 경기 연습량이 궁금해지네요.
And I'm curious as to how much you prepared
연습은
for this match.
제가 예전에 연습했던 만큼 굉장히 많이 했던 것
I
같아요.
just practiced like I
그래도
was in my
해도
prime.
계속 하면 할수록 더
And as I
생각이
practiced,
많아지고 특히나 이영호 선수가
I started getting more
잘하는
thoughts,
선수라서
and I simulated a lot.
그래서
And as
많이
Flash is
하면
a phenomenal
할수록 좀
player,
머리가 복잡해진 것 같아요.
I just got more confused as I kept practicing.
자, 벌써부터 이 두 선수의 태태전이 정말 기대가 안
we're
될
just
수가
looking
없는데요.
forward to
이제
this
양 선수
tonight's
마지막
TVT
테란을
match.
대표하기 위해 경기를 펼치게 될
And these
텐데
guys will be
서로
fighting for the
같은
last spot
종족으로서
as a
상대를
term
어떻게
player in the round of
평소에
4.
생각했는지도 궁금해요.
How do you regard each other as the same race?
저는 굉장히 무난하게 가게 놔두면 거의
I feel
최상위권.
like if the games go standard, Light is a amazingly good term
무난하게
player.
장기전 가게 두면 엄청
So,
강한 형이거든요. 그래서
He can be really strong in late game.
어떻게 깨트릴지 그게 제
So I'm trying to think of ways to break him in the
무난하게
game.
가게 내버려두지 않겠다는 이영호
So
선수의
like
답변을
Flash has
들어봤는데
mentioned that he's
이재호
not gonna
선수는
let
이영호
you go into
선수
the late
평소에
game.
좀 어떻게 생각하셨나요?
And what about you, Light?
일단 제일 스타를 가장 잘 이해하고 잘하는 선수인데
he's a quintessential term player. He has so much
영어는
knowledge
저는
about
이제
this
안
game.
믿기 시작했거든요. 항상 이제 머릿속에서는 누구든 다 이긴다 생각을 하기 때문에
In my head,
립 서비스라고 생각을 해요.
I have
저도 이제
confidence,
잘 알고 있고
and Flash
그래서
surely is
그만큼
confident as
더
well.
오늘 경기가 제가 여태까지 스타를 해온
So
시간이 헛되지 않도록
I'll try to show the best
후회 없는 게임 하고
performance
가고 싶습니다.
so that I can play without regrets.
자, 서로를 존중하는
And both
대답까지
players are
들어봤습니다.
respecting each
과연
other.
오늘 최후의 승자는
And
누가 될지 경기를
we'll see
통해 함께
which one
지켜보겠습니다.
wins
두 선수
today.
인터뷰 고맙습니다.
And thank you guys for the interview.
자, 올레TV ASL
Thank you,
시즌
Andy, but
과연
actually
이번
you
시즌
mistranslated what
마지막
Light said there
테란을
at the
대표하는
end.
주인공은 어떤 선수가
He
될지
actually said
이영호
happy
선수와
birthday to
이재호 선수의
Tasteless.
경기 지금 바로 만나보시죠.
I'll try to win for you. I'm 35 years old today. I also have a little bit of a cold here, so you'll be getting about 30% of my tastelessness today. I'm running on empty.
Well, that is still about what is that? 12 years?
Yeah,
12 years of tasteless. I think that's enough.
And what better to do on my birthday than cast Flash playing
Tasteless.
the greatest gamer of all time?
Yeah, hold on though. You're half the way to 70.
Yes.
How's that feel?
Feels pretty good, actually.
Yeah?
I like getting older, personally. I know
Yeah?
a lot of people. Oh, I did not expect to do that.
Tasteless.
Thank you, production. I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I mean, I actually like getting older, to be honest. Every year's a little bit better than the one before, so I'm okay with this.
No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm digging this
The 20s
music,
suck.
by the way.
Yeah, what is this song playing? Oh, yeah. This is a tasteless song for sure.
This is a tasteless song.
This is what I was listening to on the way to work.
Whenever I see you,
sure.
I think of this song, actually, to be honest.
Well, thank you for the birthday wishes. It's very kind of you. Do you think that there is any chance this is not a 3-0?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm thinking 3-1.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Not a 3-2, though. Impossible.
I mean, if it goes 3-2, that's really impressive by Light. I think that the problem is that Flash knows you have the same weapons that Flash has. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
right.
the real issue here.
Yeah.
If you have different weapons from Flash, you can catch him a little bit more easily, I feel like. Whereas it's not like Light can go vultures and then Flash won't also have vultures. It's not like Flash can't also make wraiths and siege tanks or drop ships, right?
Yeah,
When you have one player, first off, mechanically, they're actually similar. Light is fantastic mechanically. They both have really great micro and all that. But, like, Flash just knows more about Terran than anybody.
Yeah.
And all the other Terrans put together in the whole world, well, actually, you start getting that starts detracting from value when you get past like the top 7 or so. I bet you that if you actually add in the knowledge of the Terrans below that, it actually detracts from the overall number because what they think they know is so
probably
wrong.
Yeah, by comparison to Flash.
Yeah.
By the way, we're on the right side of the bracket here. As you can see, Snow in action already in the Final Four. We have to assume we'll probably have Flash advance, otherwise it's the biggest upset in the tournament. And then on Tuesday we have Rain versus Saxry.
Yeah, and that's gonna be maybe a surprisingly good match. But let's
think
take a
so.
look here. Okay, so he banned Neo Sylphid. I think that's a map where things can be mixed up the most easily. So
Yeah.
makes some sense. New Bloody Ridge taken out by Light. I'm not exactly sure why. But yeah, I mean, the map pool is kind of interesting, right? Like, cheeky builds can definitely work on tripod, blockchain, and multiverse.
Sure.
Overwatch, this is definitely a map where you can go for an 8 racks.
Am I wrong on this? Tripod TBT should be pretty weird, right? That
Very
could
weird.
go on for a very long time.
Yeah. No, I think
I'm very
that would be
curious
a
to see
very
how Flash
strange-
opens on that.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what that is going to look like. That's like
Yeah.
I'm really unsure. Multiverse is very spawning position oriented. Then blockchain can be very weird. It's very much a dropship map.
Yeah, it's a bit of a slugfest map.
Yeah,
you know,
so-
because it is a little bit islandy, around the edges.
Yeah. So I mean, there's some very strange maps here, and we'll see how that goes. I think that actually Overwatch is going to be a very crucial map, this first map.
Yeah.
Because, like, for instance, you can do proxies and whatnot. Containments are very, very strong here. Moving your units correctly around the map is very, very strong here.
Right.
So I guess we'll just wait and see what their openers will be, but I do feel like this is a critical map. If Light wants to be able to have a chance to take the series, he really needs to bring it on this first map. And if he can win here in a way that is not a proxy, then that really says a lot, because this is one of the most, in fact, out of the map pool that we have here tonight for them, this is the most positional map.
Yeah. You actually beat me to it. I was going to bring up proxying as a real option here.
Yes, it really is.
Depending on build orders, you can absolutely just steal a win there, depending on what the build is that Flash is going to do.
There's 3.5 spots you can proxy in 8 racks here.
Right,
so that's tough.
Flash might open it in a pretty conservative fashion here. We'll see. I mean, you certainly, Light is obviously the underdog here, but absolutely Light could win with a proxy against Flash. I mean, it's
possible.
So we're just going to have to see what happens. But I'm curious because I feel like game 1, whether it's a proxy or not, that's going to telegraph where Light thinks his TVT is.
Yeah, you could be right about that. Like, again, he's so good mechanically and everything. I feel like he can keep up with Flash macros for the most part.
I want to point out, not only is Flash the best player at ASL, but this is the best song. Okay, he plays this on his stream all the time. It's great music to play StarCraft too.
Well, you know, we've already look at this 73% in all 3 matchups in ASL. That's crazy.
God,
that's so crazy.
Almost 74 actually.
Yeah, very close too. That Zerk thing effort screwed that up for him.
Yeah,
but yeah, so he's
God,
the
that
smartest
is
player,
so
man.
disproportionately high.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was even in one matchup, we'd be losing our minds. But it's all 3. He's actually that good.
Yeah, and he's just so ridiculous. Now, Light, he has, you know, not delivered up to the level that he actually plays at. The actual quality of his play is as a top 4 Terran in the world.
Yeah.
If you look at the actual straight up quality when you're like watching his stream or something, or watching him play spawn games or whatever, he's just an amazing Terran player, but he's never, ever in his whole history of his career really delivered the level he needs to in individual leagues. He's been a heavy hitter in team leagues and stuff, but he's not a champion.
No, and it's a different beast to try to individually get through an entire tournament of the other best players in the world. So this is by far his biggest challenge right now, is to take on Flash. I mean, everybody is assuming Flash will automatically advance here, guys. So if we have an upset, it will be a huge upset.
Also, we should mention, Tasteless, that Flash has announced this is his last ASL before the military.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more when we hop into game, because this game is ready. Map 1 on Overwatch, let's go.
Now playing in Overwatch.
Packed in here for a TVT.
Yes. I believe the studio, the only few empty seats we have are people that ran to the restroom just to then come out and get ready to watch this entire match. So it's packed down here. So again, we were wondering, you know, is there going to be a proxy here? Is there a chance of that? So far, no SCVs on the map.
Flash, of course, in the top left and Light in the bottom right. So yeah, it'll be interesting not only to see if someone proxies, but to see what scout patterns that these two are going to employ. Because as I said, on 2-player maps that have this many proxy locations, it almost doesn't even make sense to look for the proxy. Right? There's like places where it's stronger than places that's weaker, so you could just scout like the strongest place perhaps.
Right.
But there's such a set of mind games involved in that. Neither of them will be proxying. They would have already sent their SCVs out by now.
Right.
So
we just got to see later on if either of them are going to check for that.
Yeah.
Is the other question. So before the game started, Artosis was bringing up that this might be Flash's last ASL, and you're probably saying, well, why on earth would that be the case? Well, he's had a history of problems in his tendons and his wrists and forearms from specifically playing StarCraft. And this is something that's happening to a lot of these older players. I know I'm still in the process of recovering from a repetitive stress injury from too much StarCraft, too much gaming. So he basically went to the doctor. I believe this was about a week and a half ago, and the doctor looked at it and said, "This is bad. This is bad." Now he's already had a major surgery before. Was it on both arms or was it on his right arm?
Just his
right
right
arm
I
is the
believe.
problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is funny because like a lot of people actually end up with problems in their left hand from StarCraft, but in this case it was actually a mouse injury.
Yeah. I thought that's where most of the injuries were the mouse.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I know some people that have had more problems in their left hand. But, well, no, you know what I'm thinking? I think it was my brother was the one that had the problems with his left hand.
Yeah.
Because he was the first person I knew that ended up with an injury. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to really recover from these kinds of injuries, guys, is to actually take time off from playing. So he's probably going to play through this tournament, and then, and he hasn't done his military service, so he might end up.
That's right. He said,
doing that here.
He said specifically in a wonderfully translated video from Jin that this is the last ASL due to his injury. It's right now a shoulder injury that's going on. He basically plays in pain at all moments. But his doctor's like, okay, this is serious. You got to get this fixed now. So what he'll do is after this ASL is done, which by the way, he said he's going to give his all to do his best in.
Right.
He'll skip. He was planning originally to do one more ASL before military, but instead he'll just take it off and just rest his arm, not play as much. He'll still be streaming a lot.
Right.
But reducing his game count to 2 to 3 games per day, maybe playing a team league, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to be a real, hugely impactful on the entire StarCraft scene when he has to take some time off. Now, I imagine he'll, with the time he's going to spend in the military, he'll probably have recovered.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's going to equal like at least 2 years that he doesn't really play for.
Right,
so.
right. Light losing that first SCV.
Yeah, so jumping into the game real quick, Light actually scouted a huge amount of territory with his SCV and went for a command center first. Now, Flash is just pressuring. This is not expected to do actual, like, SCV killing damage. Oh, he missed micros actually and loses an SCV there. He did not need to lose that.
That's 2 SCVs that he's lost now.
But forcing this many SCVs to be pulled this early and to make a bunker right off the bat, when you put both those things together, suddenly this has done a reasonably significant amount of damage. Notice the add-on for Flash. Most likely he's making a siege tank. And what you'll do from a situation like this, because he's already pressured him, he forced an early bunker, which slows down everything else.
Yeah.
It slows down, like, if you want to go second fact, whatever you want to do. It kind of messes up your build order as the Terran player. But a lot of times what happens is you send a siege tank across, it's like your Protoss, and you're just pressuring the bunker and making them repair. And it costs even more minerals.
A tank, you'd be surprised how many people don't realize this, but the tank does outrange the bunker not in siege mode.
Yes, absolutely.
So you can just sit there and pound away at that, and it's a headache. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of that coming up here. Now, these Marines are trying to chase away this SCV. Tempo-wise, tempo-wise, Light did get his expansion up a little bit more quickly. Yeah. Flash is not in a bad spot, but he's sort of paced this out a little bit differently by trying to put some pressure on, trying to keep Light on the defense. And go ahead.
Yeah. And the thing is with the command center first, you get more SCVs than your opponent, so your economy continues to build. But for instance, we just saw the 3rd SCV go down for Light, so now he's lost 3 SCVs. That's significant in a matchup between 2 players of this caliber.
Right. By the way, a second tank is coming down here. Now, tanks do more damage more quickly, not in siege mode. They just don't have the splash.
That's right.
So this is actually a lot that the Terran has to deal with. I mean, remember that it's not just that you're making these SCVs not mine. They have to spend money repairing the bunker itself. And so with the first tank coming out here now for Light, he'll try to drive this away, but it's now 2 versus 1. The only thing that Light has going for him really is this bunker.
Yeah, his Wraith will be popping out pretty quickly here. I didn't actually catch if he was going for siege mode or not.
Oh.
But as the Wraith comes out, he can finally force this away.
Did you see that little trick he tried to do there? He ran the tank under the barracks to try to see if he couldn't be target fired, but Flash adjusted slightly, and the tanks then targeted that down, forcing Light to back up.
So the Wraith comes out, and he's got to micro this to kill off these 2 Marines. The 2 Marines actually buy a lot of time. Yeah, and is this a Goliath coming down? No, I didn't think so.
He is sending an SCV. Yeah, one thing to point out is that, really, actually, 2 Marines is a headache for a Wraith. And that is a Goliath coming down.
3 beats a Wraith. 3 full health Marines beat a Wraith.
The Wraith, in an actual straight-up fight, is one of the worst units that you can have. The advantage is that it flies. A lot of units can't attack air, and its air-to-air missiles are pretty good. But a couple Marines on the ground, that's a problem.
So here's the first Goliath for Flash. He's playing this game beautifully so far. He's really put on as much pressure as he possibly could. Light will probably do a factory explosion from here. But the question is, like, does Flash rather try to set up some sort of contain at this point?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, is there any merit in trying to just attack the bunker with siege tanks in siege mode, or is that a fool's errand?
No, you don't want to go over the bridge anymore. That time has come and gone. At this point, you're kind of looking to maybe contain an area to slow down Light, to screw him up a little bit.
Right.
But you don't want to do a real frontal attack right now. That's like one way you can lose your units. If you end up losing your units as Flash, you definitely can get in trouble from here, even though I would look at this position and say that he has an edge.
Okay, Flash is going to move down here towards the bottom center. And again, this is all trying to keep Light under control. Again, Light's been forced to take a fairly passive role here because he went for that quick expansion. It's why it was a pretty intelligent move here for Light to then decide to get some of these Wraiths out. Hold on a second, good scan. This is one of the things I love about when you watch Flash. It's very subtle, but he always ends up scanning where the army is. You know,
like he was hoping for an engage coming downhill there because he knows he has more takes right now. Now look at this. He actually comes in with the scan beautiful targeting right there. Gets one tank, he's going to get a second. Oh, what?
What? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
he wound up getting that. I guess there was something weird.
He's got to pull away.
I guess the shots were a little bit staggered there. Oh, no. Now, this is actually a big deal because, remember, it's not, you might be looking at this and seeing the barracks getting killed off. No big deal. You don't really make a lot of Marines in this matchup. Actually, you need the barracks to make factories.
Yeah. Light had already started his next command center. He's actually on 3 add-ons. So he's actually kind of accounted for all his money for now, and it's not as big a deal. But if he had wanted to add 2 facts right now, he would be in trouble. But he's actually going for a mass siege tank approach here. I think that the problem here is that Flash, I believe, has enough intel that he can just rally tanks endlessly at this point.
Right.
And Light is going to have to do something bold, maybe go into dropships or something, but breaking these tanks in that position is so unfathomably hard, it's almost not even worth trying.
Yeah, I mean, a really good Terran player, as you watch them win, it's like watching a boa constrictor eat something. You just constrict and constrict. Oh, hold on.
That was a beautiful move forward.
Yeah, he actually edged that in perfectly. So he's going to take out 2 tanks there. So as I was saying earlier, yeah, you're basically trying to strangle your opponent. You're trying to choke them out of resources. There are moments where drops become huge, but the general theme you'll see in Terran versus Terran is just that you're trying to box them in. You're trying to suffocate them out of a victory.
You can hit a critical mass of siege tanks that becomes so hard to break. Now, Flash doesn't have the critical mass, but he has the high ground advantage. The one thing Light really does have going for him is, well, 2 things. He has 3 factory add-ons right now. He's not really wasting his time making anything else. And he has a Wraith. And Wraith tank outranges tank Goliath barracks for spotting.
Yeah.
So you actually have more spotting with the Wraith.
Right. Oh, hold on. He's going to try to come out this way. Now, there are 2 tanks over here, but with 2 more coming in, this is going to be a little bit of a problem here for Light.
Oh, this is... that felt like a really smart move for a moment there because there's so many tanks on the other side.
Oh my god.
But the amount of tanks that Flash has killed, look at the look on Light's face right now.
Yeah, well, if there's a moment where the game started to get turned on its head, he's beginning to lose, it was that moment right there.
Yeah, it feels like Flash has still outplayed Light in almost every way. Light had 1 good move sniping a couple tanks on the high ground there. But other than that, Flash is playing magnificently. Look at the difference here. It's a command center first that Flash played against. 115 supply to 89 right now.
Yeah.
Like,
that's actually pretty jarring.
Yeah.
Considering Light opened up with an econ play, and it's a mirror matchup. And Flash is already outgrowing him.
God, he's so ridiculous, Tasteless. He's so ridiculous. Everyone else on Earth is Bronze League, and he is Super Grandmaster Pro Gamer Champion. It's like, this is just such flawless play. Look at his money just staying down. He's switching into Wraith already. He's got a perfect contain up that doesn't look breakable.
So the 3rd base has been taken here for Light, but the problem is that I don't know where else he can go from here. I mean, he is very much so contained. Again, the bridge here is a big point of contention, and so it looks like Light's going to try to break out in the more open area where he'll have to fight up onto the high ground, but we have more tanks coming in here.
Yeah, this was a nice move. The siege, the SCVs took a lot of tank hits there, so that worked out very well. But the 2 Wraiths of Flash definitely going to help out here. There's no anti-air for Light, and now Flash with the counterattack instantly.
Big move here. Now this is so intelligent. Now there's some tanks coming back here. I don't know if Flash was quite prepared for this attack from the bottom.
I tell you, with moves like this, Tasteless, who needs friends? Seriously.
Again, these Wraiths, there's nothing here to contest this. So what looked like Light about to break free, Flash instead ended up isolating the army on the outside here. And these Wraiths getting so many free shots, we finally have a Goliath coming forward.
Just a really nice move for Flash to do that counterattack. It forces all of Light's units back into his base. Look at that.
Sets up
there
again.
it is. I tell you what.
I'll tell you, man. That is...
Magnus Carlsen is so lucky that Flash doesn't care about chess. He's so lucky, Tasteless.
You could see the frustration on Light's face.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just...
He said it well in the interview. When he saw that he was playing Flash, it's like, when you try to prepare for that, it feels like you're preparing to play against a wall. It's whoever beats a wall in tennis, right? It's like, whoever beats a wall in StarCraft, it's so hard. You have the same units Flash has. How are you going to beat him?
And Flash made that look very easy. I mean, from A to Z there, he basically
Yeah.
Had perfect play, continued to box Light in. I think Light had the right idea trying to break free. If you don't break free eventually, you're never going to get out. Flash will have the whole map. But in this ingenious play, as he broke free from there, he took the smaller army, sent them down the bridge, locked out that army that was actually there, and then the Rays were able to take so many pot shots. It was crazy.
Just beautifully played, no doubt about it. Flash looking very, very strong in that game, #1. But you know what? Our next map is a crazy one, Tripod.
That's right. I really... It's hard on my brain to imagine what this TVT is going to look like because of the way this map is shaped. I don't.
Yeah, that's a hard
I don't know.
one.
This is. We'll be going into that more in a little bit here, but yeah,
probably a long game. Lots of drop ships.
I think it's supposed to be the longest game, unless there's something.
Maybe multiverse if we get there.
Sure. Yeah. No multiverse as well, but I feel like. Yeah. Let's see what happens though. I really don't know. By the way, it's good to see all you guys. Non-Koreans out here coming here supporting StarCraft as well. Oh, we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back with Game 2. Don't go anywhere.
재미가 없으면 원래 TV가 아니지.
Dude, this is dark web.
저는 백수 가족의 장남 기우가 고액 과외 면접을 갑니다.
참으로 시의적절하다.
2019년 봉준호 감독의 새로운 가족 희비극.
If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because he killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do. You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
I heard the man. Stroke those keys, Jolly Green.
Traction's engaged.
You promised to bring that back in one piece, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll do my best.
As promises go, that was pretty lame.
AfreecaTV TV ASL Season 8 expansion.
Break it down. Welcome back to the ASL. Not surprisingly, we see so far Flash has been dominating. He's got a 1-0 lead. Again, basically
that was
playing a perfect game. Yeah,
it was ridiculous. And Light even had two really strong moves during that game too. And it's just like,
well, you could also see the frustration on Light's face after he lost that. I mean, there's this thing about StarCraft where when you're playing against someone who's so much better than you, particularly in Brood War, there's this feeling of impossibility, of hopelessness. Is everything that you do, you run into a wall. And it's a different feeling for each race, but in TVT, it is like you're in a cage.
Yes.
And you're just trying to get out. You're trying to, bend the barbs. You're trying to breathe. You're trying to stretch, and you can't.
Yeah.
And that was really exemplified in that last game. There was no way for Light to get anywhere off of his little fifth of the map.
Yeah. TVT is a very tricky matchup like that, too, because it's not, again, you have the same units. I can't understate that or overstate that enough. Like, you don't have, like, some special, like, I can get to the Arbiter and do a recall, or the Defiler's really good. No, it's like you're playing with the same stuff, and it's not a matchup like PvP or ZZ where you can just catch someone if they're a lot better than you.
Right.
Like, TVT, if you're much better than your opponent at TVT, it shows, and you win, like, a lot.
Yeah.
Losses can occur, though, which is why I said I think it's probably a 3-1, but after watching that first game, I don't know, man.
Again, psychology plays a big role here as well, right? I mean, already a lot of stress and frustration there in that first game. That's not going to be helpful. I don't know if Light's one of those players that can harness that negative energy and turn that into a win. We're going to see here. Again, Tripod, a very strange map. We'll probably spend a lot of time breaking this apart and how this operates. And we're actually ready to go. So game 2 in this best of 5 Flash vs. Light starts now.
Now playing in Tripod.
So we Flash up at the top left. Wait, no, that's Light at the top left. Flash at the right center.
So let's start talking about this map, because there's a lot to go over here. First of all, you got to understand the nature of TVT is often centered around contains and holding up and controlling choke points. Now, that becomes a really interesting concept when you look at it like a map like this, because there's two points of exit on this map. There's sort of two possible ways you could expand. Huh?
You can't contain here.
I don't think so. Or at least it would be, you'd have to get into a longer game before you could easily contain. Overwatch, it's a pretty straightforward contain. You get on the high ground on the bottom with most of your stuff, and then you just have a small number of units at the bridge, because the bridge bottlenecks the army, and the splash damage from the tanks usually takes care of the rest. On this map, I don't know. And look, I feel like out of all the matchups in StarCraft, I feel like TVT is the one I'm most out of my depth in, just as a Protoss player.
Yeah.
But I don't know what ideas you're trying to utilize here on this map.
All right, so I think that drop ships are very, very likely to be the strongest thing you can do on this map, which of course kind of adds the caveat that if you go Wraiths correctly against the drop ships, you might be in a good position, but that's going to be a little bit difficult. I think that Vulture openings definitely could be all right here, just because of their speed, and you can lay mines on either side and stuff like that. Contains are not going to work all that well, but if the game goes long, I think it's going to be about sieging up the center.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of resources in there, and if you control the center, the amount of surface area that you have to attack into your opponent, I think gets a lot better. So, yeah, anyways, it's a command center first from both sides, which is exactly what I would expect.
Yeah. If you're wondering, isn't this a little bit risky? I mean, in theory, yeah, but on this map, it's just unlikely that you're going to get, I think, rushed in the same way, so.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of a funny thing. Like, I guess Light has a plan, but I was going to suggest that on one of these maps where, like, for instance, we almost always see command center first type builds or Nexus first, hatchery first on this map. Why not just proxy barracks on one side and just flip a coin?
Yeah,
I think a coin flip against Flash is really, really good.
One of the first time I ever heard of this concept, I think it was Smuff did it against Tessie.
He killed Tessie on Tau Cross.
And at a WCG in Canada. Those are two very good players, but basically he he chose one of the 2 possible spawns that Tessie could be in and just built gateways in that main, and then it turned out that that's
where Tessie was. He killed him. It was so funny.
And what's funny is, I'll tell you something. If that happened online, you would be 100% sure that Smuff would have been cheating, because it's like, well, how would you just know? And it's like, but it happened on LAN.
Smuff was the type of player that would take a coin flip like that.
Yeah. He was way ahead of the curve.
It was especially funny because Tessie was a hacker for so many years. So
yes,
it was like, how does that feel? Do you like that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Was that actually an offline match? I thought that
was an offline match.
Okay.
No, it was at LAN. I believe that's what I was told, but
I thought it was offline, but okay.
Well, what do you mean offline?
I mean online.
Okay. Oh, maybe
I thought it was like a PG Tour, like a tournament, like.
You might be right. I'm not sure. I was pretty sure it was a WCG, but maybe not. But
regardless,
right? Anyways,
it's coin flips like that are always hilarious because if they're not where you're guessing, you just look so stupid because it's not going to do anything.
You literally might as well just leave the game. Like it's going to be the most confusing game for the player that he's ever won.
Yeah.
So, quick question, Artosis.
Yes.
And this is out of genuine curiosity here because I really don't know how this works. If both players, got greedy like they did in this game and went immediately for command centers, is there any way for both the 2 command-centered players to then, for one player to try to cut corners again to get ahead? Is there a second greedy play?
Okay,
what is that?
Well, there's always the thing like, do you make any defensive structures? How many Marines have you made? Those are the small things. But from there, it's like how many factories do you want to go into? A lot of times when you have 2 very eco-heavy builds, both players will want to get into vultures. Here, though, there's a little bit of mind games on both sides. Oh, wow, that was a great catch by Light.
Yeah.
But Light's actually going double Stargate, and Flash is going single Stargate. So that...
Yeah, with a second factory. Whoa, cancel the add-on there.
Cancel
Good catch there by Shine.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. But he's getting an armory here as well. So I was going to say that this should be Light favored, especially if he goes cloak quickly. Because obviously if you have more rates than your opponent, that's like any other thing that we've ever seen. You have more mutas, you have more rates, you have more whatever. You have more Corsairs. But yeah.
On Sparkle, yeah.
Yeah, on Sparkle. But yeah, okay, so they're both going for the add-ons. Just a bunch of factories without add-ons here. For Goliath production for Flash, though.
Now, I'm actually liking this a little bit more here for Flash. You can do a lot of cool tactical things with Wraiths, but if they immediately and entirely answer that, you will just smother them with Goliaths. I mean, Goliaths will just run over everything. And this is one of those weird moments where the Goliaths kind of have that same theme, like a lot of... Sometimes when you just start to get enough Dragoons, you can keep making Dragoons and win a game. Goliaths sort of have that feature at times in this matchup as well.
Now, I'm actually wondering if he's going dropship off of this. I could see that. Like, he's gone up to 4 Goliaths immediately. So this actually feels like he's making a dropship right now. And that's very interesting because dropship has potential to do damage in a situation like this, but I actually kind of like the Wraith tank player because if you micro just right, oh wow, he misses it with the scan.
That is quite the scan.
Yeah, if you micro just right, you should be able to kill everything they bring over, right? The Wraiths just can snipe down the dropship, but I don't know if he made anything out of there yet. Unsure.
Oh, look at that. He's banking the Wraiths over here in this this gapped area. In the upper right. In the outer space area, Artosis.
The outer space area. Send his Wraiths to outer space.
That's right.
He sees the starport. Just harassing a little bit with the Wraiths. Okay. Kind of an awkward number.
Yeah, you're not quite able to one-shot SCVs with this, so.
No. It's actually a 3-shot with 3 Wraiths. 4 is a
2-shot, right?
Yeah, right?
So again, I don't know if this game is going to immediately shoot into action. This map sort of encourages you to expand away from the other player. So that also incentivizes, I think, less real engagements here. Like the Wraiths are just attacking because they're flying units, and it's like, well, why not? You know?
Yeah, you made them. You got to use them.
But pushing out with tanks might be a different story.
Yeah, it's so hard to actually push on this map. Like, what are you going to push? Are you going to like do a gully push and push into their main base? Like, that's a move that could eventually work, but right now in small unit count numbers, not likely. Right now, Flash, you know, he's kind of got the factory advantage momentarily. He does have his third base up a little bit quicker. He's throwing down turrets. So these are kind of some useful things for the long term. Ooh, gets one of the raids. Nice.
So, while pushes are unlikely, contains are, I think, an inevitability here, just in the way this matchup operates. But is there even like a place you want to try to go and contain first?
No.
Right?
I think it's not even that good because if your opponent just walks around, like, what does that contain do? I guess he can expand there, and it defends his side of the base. You have to walk the long way around.
Well, the map is starting to get opened up a little bit here. Flash actually mined through that, and that actually changes the nature of everything here because now I think Flash actually could push this.
Yeah, that's going to be annoying.
Could push this location down here.
He's got to throw some tanks over there defensively. But, I mean, he should be able to stop this. That is a lot of units for Flash.
Flash just, again, ahead in supply here. The thing is, these minerals are actually pointed towards where the tanks are. So instead of having to even hit the command center, you can actually get right to the chase here and start to hit the SCVs. And we're going to have to see if Light can deal with this. Now, one thing that's just a natural problem for the Purple Terran in this position is that it's hard for him to get his tanks to where they need to be to defend the SCVs, where it's much easier for Flash over here. And these Goliaths being able to shoot over the depot is another big headache here.
That was misplaced tank.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. The amount of damage that Flash is doing with this right now is so silly. Like, the first attack he makes on this big of a map is just killing it. And this kind of shows, again, why contains don't do anything on a map like this. Like, there's 4 tanks over these. Are we calling that a contain? What Light did with those 4 tanks? They're just sitting there.
By the way, I'm pretty impressed that Flash would then pull away. I feel like almost any other player in the world would have kept his tanks there a little bit longer, but there's something about Flash where he's like, no.
Yeah, he did his damage.
I know this literally exactly, perfectly.
Playing very safely, getting out into a different position. The thing is, he left his army near there, so maybe if Light gets pulled around in another direction, then suddenly Flash can move in again.
Well, when this push happens over here at the top right, that's when basically Flash's tanks and Goliaths in the center left become like Zerglings and run in there and hit it again.
Yeah, could be.
This could end up, if his next push or drop works over here at the top and the attack on the center left also works, I think we will actually just have a GG. I might be wrong, but it is looking like that.
You know, Light is on 4 bases, so yeah, you'd have to bust this base minimum.
Yeah, but I think that's actually easy, right? I mean, he has literally more of everything. He's now unloading tanks and Goliaths on top of these tanks, so he's going to win this fight up here. SCVs are being pulled. Actually, they're being used to try to help in the fight.
Yeah, and, well, his Wraiths were a little bit out of position there, so the dropship's really helping out. Flash gets into a great spot. But the Wraiths, okay, this is a nice move from Light. Picking off dropships is definitely very, very good.
We're going to get a shot up here. Okay, he is still actually hitting that location.
Lift it, lift it.
Yeah, he needs to lift it.
That full volley on there, that would have been close to death.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it actually could still burn out. It's not being moved, and there's no way for SCVs to get under there to repair that.
He could send his Wraiths over there. We don't really have Goliaths there at the moment, but I guess he's going to miss that opportunity slightly.
Okay. He is going to save it. All right.
Yeah.
This is something that occasionally happens when players are very stressed, as a Terran building accidentally burns to the ground.
Yeah.
For no reason other than the player simply was stressed and distracted and forgot to do this simple task.
Totally.
So it's Light on 3 bases now.
Yeah.
Flash is actually taking the bottom left main.
Yeah. He's just starting to expand around.
This is where the growth becomes exponential.
Don't forget he has that group units on the left side, which actually is funny because we were talking about how it could counterattack before, but it has another function as well. It's hard for Light to actually attack the bottom left at this point where Flash is expanding massively.
Yeah.
Because look at that. It's like you move up and, well, here we are. Slow everything down. That's going to give Flash a lot of time if he wants to try to ferry some units over there or walk units over there. Now this, all right. Is Light going to get in here and actually get some SCVs?
Yeah.
Good harassment. Such a weird map.
Yeah,
like watching the way that these armies are moving
hurts my brain in some ways. Like just trying to see how the armies are going to move and where they're supposed to go.
Totally,
now,
it does.
I think there's a timer here that we got to put on Light. If Light doesn't do something huge really quickly, Flash is going to have the entire map. he will have way too much control. This is a 3-player map, and Flash has now taken over the other spawn that the 2 players didn't start in.
It's a big deal.
So it's like, you know, considering that this map oftentimes is cut up into pieces, into slices. Excuse me. Flash, it basically has way more slices now. So if Light can't punch these bases off of those positions, Flash will just have more money, and it's an inevitability that he will win this game.
Yeah, it's really strong that he has that bottom area. Now, Light is trying to do some sort of push here. It's hard, though. I don't know if he has any dropships to ferry up, so, you know, I guess he can hit some buildings that are on the fringe.
Yeah, this is...
+2 is already done for Flash here, and +2 just gives him such a defender's advantage.
Yeah, tanks 2-shot other tanks, right?
That's right.
In siege mode, at least, yeah.
So, like, you want to get +2 as quickly as you possibly can in this matchup. +1 doesn't matter, +3 barely matters.
Right.
Armor upgrades barely matter. It's really just all about getting +2, and Flash has already, so that's really nice for him.
Well, Light's going to try to break in through here. Now remember, those tanks at the upper right, they didn't do much. They got a depot or 2. But he's going to try to come out here and get something done by maybe taking control of the center. Now, Flash is not actually occupying the center. He's been occupying the areas around the center. But, oh, as I say that, I'm sorry, now he is going to come into this location and try to claim this.
Yeah, I think as the game gets big, the center is the important area of the map.
Yeah.
Because if you can control that, first off, there are a lot of bases in there, like mentioned previously. All the natural expansions are low gas, low mineral.
Yeah.
So they aren't as valuable as other bases. And obviously, like, mains are important and stuff, but, like, if you control the center, your army moves around so much more quickly, your dropships move around so much more quickly.
Yeah. Again, Wraiths are another big factor here because they can actually shoot down the drop ships. Although it doesn't seem like Flash is that interested. Oh, hold on. I was going to say it doesn't seem like he's that interested in dropping just yet, but now he's going to try to come into this location again. There might not be that much to defend here. There is a heavy push, though, down at the bottom here from Light. I don't know that he can break this, though. It's so hard to get on a high ground here. Oh, my God. And these tanks are so perfectly positioned here.
That is a pretty strong drop right there.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, he has just enough flies here to really punish those Wraiths from coming in. Light will be able to clean it up, but loses quite a few SCVs.
Yeah, almost all the SCVs in that location were killed off, and it looks like 2 of these drop ships, nope, might not actually get away here. By the way, we have not seen Light actually breach the bottom left spawn. Oh my God, these tanks are still here.
Yeah, this SCV will clean him up, don't worry.
But, he's got it. His drill's got this.
Yeah, it actually... SCVs are actually better against tanks than any other Terran unit.
Yeah, this is something that's very funny. Is most matchups when you see a fight happening, workers are pulled.
Yeah.
You know, especially if there's ranged units involved. You know, I mean, the melee units is a different story, of course, but in this case, it's nice shot. In this case, actually, SCVs are very handy at screwing up the siege mode for the siege tanks.
I really am happy that Light chose a Wraith play and we see dropship play from Flash.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't care which side is going to do what, but like. That in and of itself makes it very, very interesting. Like, if both players are going dropship, it becomes silly because then there's like 8 dropships and then dropships just drop on the same exact location all game long and then someone wins. But in a game like this, there's actually a lot of finesse from both sides. The Wraiths are trying to zone out dropships, pick off dropships, look for areas where there's not enough Goliaths and things like that. Whereas, you know, the dropships, they can reposition your army. But, you know, they don't carry as big an army as like Light just attacking with most of his units around the map. So, yeah, a lot of finesse on both sides here. Very interesting game. And even though Flash is winning right now and is looking good, Light's not that far behind. Even though you look at 20 supply differential, at these supplies, you can live for a long time as Light.
But I think the problem is not whether or not you can live for a long time. It's how can he close this game out into a win. And, I mean, if you just look at the map, it looks kind of even. But I would still say Flash has an overall edge. I mean, those additional bases that he took before Light have now kicked in. He's almost to 170 supply. So he's going to be maxing out in moments. And then there might be a period where, you know, Flash can really throw his weight around and start to crush different positions on the map here that Light has currently.
Yeah, it may be. Like, right now, Light has 2 of those, like, pizza slice bases. Flash does have the other main, but Light has taken a base in the center of the map as well. So you look at this, yeah, Flash has more supply, and I mean, he's playing well. But Light's doing a good job, and he's starting to cut up areas that are really important. Like, look at that siege line in the center. That's really strong. He brings his Wraiths there.
Ooh.
Yeah, you see these scans starting to hit the dropships.
Yeah.
If you can spot the dropships a significant amount of the time, the Wraith player actually gets an advantage from that.
It's very
the
true.
The dropship player needs you to be a little bit in the dark with this.
Well, when you get enough Wraiths, they just immediately shoot dropships out of the sky. You can't even unload fast enough to save your units that are inside.
And eventually you hit the right number of Wraiths. It's just like when you see like Mutalisks against Spores. Like you hit it the right amount, and you start killing turrets and things too.
Just like that.
That's a huge moment right there. Beautiful by Light. Beautiful.
Okay, he's going to try to come up here to the top right. Again, this has been the most action on the map here has been in the upper right. Flash really seems to decide that this is the location that is the softest spot that he could try to come in here and do some damage at.
I feel like Light did a panic siege as he was running those tanks up. If you got them a
too
little
far
bit,
back.
If they were a little bit higher, this would be a much more secure expansion right now. He can bring a few more over, and it looks like he is. So I don't know if Flash is going to break this right now.
I didn't realize you could put tanks in that little area up there.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize they would fit up there. I thought that was unwalkable terrain. How funny. Yeah. I guess, you can get about 2 of the mineral patches at that distance, which is enough to completely interrupt the mining.
Yeah, that's super annoying. No doubt about that. You see that Flash right now is maxed out. He's starting to bank a decent amount. It's mostly minerals, though, and that does count for something. Minerals, you make turrets, you make vultures.
You make other command centers.
Yeah, gas is by far the most important thing, though, in TBT.
By the way, that command center in the upper right, that scanner might be the only scanner to ever die from siege tank splash damage or tosis. Hitting those SCVs, sure.
So still, Flash is like treading the line on Goliath count right now, by the way. Like I saw Light look and I looked and we both decided the same thing. Can't quite do it.
By the way, I think we were right about this being the longest game in the series.
Yeah.
I don't see this ending anytime soon.
It's so hard to kill someone on a map like this.
Right.
But yeah, where are his Goliaths here? Does he only have 2 right there? You got to be careful. Yeah, he's starting to build turrets, and that's really important, especially with this type of mineral bank.
Yeah, basically the rest of Flash's minerals should be like making the Great Wall of China only with turrets.
Turrets, command centers. Later on in the game, sometimes you get back into vultures when the map becomes very close to mined out. Oh my god, his siege tanks are in distance of this command center.
Now, this is actually pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look on the minimap, there's no other locations to really fight over besides the center right? No, wait a minute. You see these
center right? Oh yeah. You mean that the middle expansion?
The middle. Yeah. I don't know why I said it like that. That's a really weird way I worded that.
I was decoding it still, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Flash is being a little bit cheeky right now, flying up the left-hand side of the map with this many dropships.
Okay, now this is a risk. Now there's Wraiths here, but there's not enough, and so the unload is going to occur here. Now this may pull some of the attention from the center over to the center left, which may end up with a soft spot here for Light in the middle that Flash can then exploit later.
Yeah, that was a very nice drop. Light just barely did not catch end time. Didn't have quite enough Wraiths right there. I feel like he should think about replenishing his Wraith count, maybe get it up to 12 or so. But he's actually going to try to break the center now that Flash is so spread thin.
No, I think Flash was not anticipating this. Instead, Light ditches the center left location instead to get total control here of the center.
Yeah. What a strong move. A great TVT is just amazing.
Oh my god, I didn't expect this counterattack either. Now this is kind of crazy, guys, because there's no way to get factory units down that ramp now if he gets control of that area.
Yeah, Flash might control the whole left-hand side now with that. So yeah, you can't rally out anymore, and Light has not been making dropships, so he has to walk a reasonably long way around. He can eventually break that set of units, so it'll be interesting to see if Flash pulls that back into a more defensive stance or not.
Okay, dropships are loading up. Again, right now Light has more map control, even though there is this kind of odd attack over here in the upper left. Right now, Light does basically control the center, which means you have the ability to circulate units more easily to where you want to go. Whereas if you look at the mini-map for Flash here, he has this sort of boomerang-shaped position. So it's a much longer travel distance by ground. And in cases like this, it means dropship play for Flash specifically is more important.
Yeah.
He needs to be able to cart his army wherever it needs to go.
He's trying to do that, but you see that Light is starting to fill in some of these areas with with turrets and whatnot. Oh, wow. Look at this drop by Flash. Few dropships in here as well. Oh, that was a little bit close to drop off as Light.
Oh, wow.
He
Yeah,
brings up more tanks, though. He is going to break this.
Yeah, this is a pretty crazy firing squad here from Light. These tanks from Flash are just a little bit too bunched up. Now, again, positionally, it looks like Light's killing it, but then you go up to the supplies here and you say, wait a minute, Flash has way more of an army.
Yeah, and he does have a pretty significant bank here as well. He's just basically everything that Flash is doing, even though Light breaks positions and is holding very important parts of the map, Flash just keeps making cost-efficient trades all over the place, which is a great way to play TVT in a long, drawn-out game, where it's just like he drops his units, he screws up a base, kills a bunch of SCVs, and then you have to spend a bunch of units to clear it. You clear it,
yeah,
but that was efficient for Flash. Now, the game is not over yet. Like, Light's mineral bank is getting very low. It's getting a bit scary for him, there's no doubt. But if he holds on to that center a bit longer, if he can deflect a drop like this, you got to remember, the gas value is really what you're looking at here. And Flash's gas income is not really that impressive, considering 3 of his gas bases are those reduced geysers.
You know what? He's going to go into the main.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
This is something that does happen in TVT, is occasionally you just go for where the factories are, basically. And you kind of rot them from inside out, you know?
Yeah. He is those super stacked, though. He's got to be careful. Sometimes dropships can bug out trying to drop in location.
It's a very frustrating thing. And so instead, he's not going to go into the main. I thought he was. Instead, he's going to unload over here. And this is a very unusual angle to attack into. I never in a million years would have guessed this is where he would have dropped it, but I guess it's working, so why not?
I think he scanned the main base and saw it was well enough defended that would have been really bad, but this was actually really bad by Flash.
Yeah. This is
a super efficient hold there.
Oh, one dropship goes down.
Yeah, really, really strong hold by Light there.
Light's holding his own this game.
Yeah. And so now take a look at this, right? Like, Flash, he still does have a big mineral bank. He still does have more supply, but notice how he's not maxed out anymore. His gas is low enough, right? He could just make a bunch of vultures and maybe he'll end up doing things like that, but it's hard for him to continually make as high quality an army as we've seen this game so far.
Right.
And that's going to become an issue. Ooh. Okay, no scan there, by the way. If he had scanned there, that would have been cash
huge,
money.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he would have wiped those tanks out.
Now, again, although the entire map was dominated for a period of time, the center left is now this dark area. Nobody really has that much control over it. Nobody's really mining from the bases over there.
Now, it looks like Flash wants to try to take that area over. He lost all of his units in this main base, but Light he's being kind of clever here. The way that he's spread out some tanks. Like, he put one on high ground. He has a few mines in here as well. Oh, good mine hit. Yeah, that's really nice positioning there. Now, Light is starting to make some moves that are going to make him more cost efficient and have Flash have a harder time cleaning up. And again, look at these banks. See the gas banks for both players, and look at the mineral banks. So this is what Light is starting to gain from the center of the map.
Right.
And having the 2 pizza slices for a little bit at least.
Yeah.
He's actually got a lot more gas. So his army quality overall is going to continue to rise.
Okay, he's coming forward now. Another big drop over here. With all that action in the bottom left, it seems like the center became a little bit squishier here, and now Flash pounces into this location.
Yeah, very scary army. He kills off this base and all those units there as well. What does Light have to the north of here? Does he have enough to actually hold on to the middle base? I think he does. Maybe he loses the mineral patches, but he can live without that for now. As long as he's denying that bottom base from Flash as well, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, those aren't quite reaching the geyser, so he can actually still get his gas from there, which is really nice.
Gas, a more important resource here than minerals.
And now you see Flash is starting to get into mineral mode, where you see these vultures starting to come out into his dropships. This is just a big sign that he's like, oh crap, I need something.
He needs to, there's no point really in StarCraft to ever save.
Yeah.
So you just want to spend. So since he's got $4 grand in minerals, he's just starting to dump those minerals into vultures. And look, vultures are not great in mech versus mech, but they can at least absorb a tank shot instead of your own tanks or Goliaths getting hit.
Yeah, they definitely have their place. With dropships, they're a little bit less strong because they don't really do that much as they come out. All right, gonna clear up this area. See what he can get done. Gonna try to tank some hits here.
More dropships coming down now to try to reclaim this location here. Light fighting back.
Ooh, really strong again. This is such a crucial base that Flash wants right now. Flash did land his command center at 9 o'clock, and if he can get that, that's a really, really nice thing for him. But you can see
these guys saying their CCs over here.
Yeah. Look at the supplies right now again. This is, I just love this game, Tasteless, because it's 2 different strategies, 3-player maps. Force a lot more action in TVT than 4 or 2-player maps.
4-player maps, 2-player maps tend to get cut in half pretty organically.
Yeah, you can't cut in half a 3-player map, so you always see these crucial spots fought over. And you can see, like, right now, Light's army is better. Like, Flash has 1 more armor upgrade or something, but a lot of his supply is starting to turn into vultures at this point.
You know what's funny is that Flash is basically pushed out on all sides, and now the center of their map is almost entirely surrounded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's beautiful.
It's a funny look, but it is happening. Oh, now here's a big play, though, to drop down into this main.
That's really great.
This was really the cash cow for Flash this whole game, was the 3rd spawn location.
All right, so Flash is actually moving up into the other natural of Light, which is kind of interesting as well. If he has units on, well, I mean, I guess Light can just rally out the bottom now. He does not need that depleted geyser. It is not really impactful in this game.
Okay, so he's just going to go ahead and leave that location now. Dropships are going to come in here again. Nothing to defend in this location. This expansion not that rich, but you got to take what you can get here as Flash. So he's going to drop over here. Counter drop, though, by Light. Really nice play. Again, supplies are even here.
Yeah,
and Light has a lot more gas, which means a lot more tanks, and tanks are sort of the end-all of TVT.
These are the last strong moves that we're going to see out of Flash, especially with dropships. At this point, he's like just about dried up. I wouldn't be super surprised if he GG's soon here. I know that the supplies look like it just barely went to Light. He's 5 supply up right now, but you can see that Flash has just about nothing left over. He's barely mining anywhere.
This is
crazy.
crazy.
These minerals are not even going out now. So
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of depleted geysers giving him money.
Did Light actually do it?
Yeah, I think he did.
This
was a beautiful
game. Now let's see. He doesn't want to misstep, though. You got to be careful.
Oh, yeah.
A bad play, and you lose those dropships with your army, and then Flash can absolutely finagle a win here.
This is Flash's last army.
I'm sorry, but how much income does Light actually have, though? He has this sort of...
He has the 2 bases in the center, and that's it. And he's only half mining the other one.
Yeah, the other one, the command center's not centered correctly, right?
That's right. He's doing the gas and the minerals.
Yeah, which drastically reduces your income.
Yeah. But when you look at for how long Flash has been gas deprived, a lot of his supplies in vultures, whereas none of Light's supplies in vultures. He's been mineral starved, so he would never buy a vulture at this point.
Right.
So Light's army, without any doubt, is much, much stronger.
Okay. We got more vultures planting mines down here. And things are really beginning to slow down. We got to watch very carefully every next move, every next step of the way here. Now here come those tanks unloading over here, but these vultures, and this is one of the big factors, is that vulture mines start to really get a lot of value in some of these fights. Oh, what? What? I don't even know. I've never seen so many Terran units ever die to a mine ever.
That was so crazy. This late into the game, that almost never happens.
Yeah. So again, I mean, these vultures, you can get some real value out of this. Flash is trying to save this base. The dropships are going to load up again.
Yeah, that's really his last chance is that base. He doesn't have any other way to get minerals, so he'll just probably plop his entire army down here.
Look at that instant scan right on where the dropships are. He's so on top of everything.
I wonder if Light is going to figure this out, but like Light could even attack the main base of Flash.
Sure.
Because right now, Flash can't do anything but try to guarantee that top right base.
By the way, if this game goes on for a lot longer, the bottom left main is now under Light's control. It's not being mined, but he has the position. He's claimed that.
Yeah, Light is in such a dominating spot right now. Flash just now going to start mining again. I actually kind of, oh, look at this. Okay, so what Flash is doing is reinforcing a couple positions, loading up vultures, and seeing what he can get done. Like maybe kill SCVs at a base. Any damage you can get with vultures right now is good for Flash.
So is this more of a waiting game right now for Flash? In this?
Well, No, right now Flash is trying to buy time.
Yeah,
if
it
he
seems
can
like
get little bits of damage
set
to
up
buy
a
time.
kill here.
Yeah, Light is very close to victory at the moment, whereas Flash, I mean, he's doing moves like this. He's like, okay, yeah, your dropships are over here dealing with one dropship of vultures. Okay, that's good. Because Flash cannot defend everything at this point.
Yeah. At this point in time, it's like Flash needs to drag this game out to is digging right now to find an opportunity.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this is Flash we're talking about. If anybody can do it, it would be him.
That is a true fact. I know it's like a corny thing to say in esports, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess Flash does get the upper right. I think this game is going to go on. If he can't get deny on that, then there's not much else you can do. Now, Flash is either going to try to push through in the top here or reclaim the bottom left. I don't think he can reclaim the bottom left, though.
No, he can't.
Mean, how do you get over there? I don't think it's a realistic thing.
I agree with that. I think that Flash needs to make a very strong move, and by a very strong move, I mean kill the main base of Light.
Okay.
I think that that is his highest percentage chance of winning this game. Because if you look at it, right, like everything Light has is in the center of the map, sieged up. You can't attack into that.
Right.
So what is left to you? If you can knock out all of his production, then you can fight him.
Not just that, but it's not like he's making that much out of the factories. So whenever he gets there, it's not like there's going to be tons of tanks coming out and to fight, you know?
It's very true.
Not all these factories, the lights are not on, you know?
He's scanning, though. There's turrets there. There's some mines in there. A few tanks sieged up with +3 attack. That's not something you want to hit. So Flash is going to look for somewhere else. I just don't know where that somewhere else is, because pre-siege tanks and dropships flying around like this is the ultimate defense from Light. If you already have your tanks sieged up and you have that many dropships flying around, nothing you do as the other Terran player is going to break that.
It's so funny whenever we get the vision check here for what Light can see. It looks so weird. He's just got this block in the middle of the map and a small strip on the bottom.
Yeah, he looks right now like July Zerg's creep spread in StarCraft 2.
Yeah. Okay, he's sieged up again here.
Yeah, Flash, I mean, he looked for the main kill. I love that he tried that. But now it's like, do you rotate everything to the bottom and try to fight there? If the dropships follow, you're screwed. If the dropships go up to your top base, you're screwed. Like, there's not a very good answer right now for Flash.
Yeah, there really isn't.
Like, maybe he tries to max, and I'm trying to think, like, realistically, how do you break anything right now? I feel like you need Light to overreact somewhere with his dropships. That was kind of a ruse that you just sacrifice a small bit of army to and then hit with everything else somewhere else.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the only chance for Flash to break anything.
Okay, so now Light's taking that bottom left base. This is where things are going to start to ramp up here for Light, and he should be able to get a closer. Again, I just don't see options here for Flash. The upper right base, minerals are beginning to diminish there. And then, from there, where do you go? Okay, his answer is to try to reclaim this. Now, this attack has to succeed for this game to go on. Because if he can't, oh my God.
Yeah,
oh my
no
God,
way.
I think Light's going to win this one.
Yeah, he's got it. This should be it. Just dropping these tanks off, he's going to eliminate so much Flash's gas. Yeah. So little left. You can't break that. There's so many siege tanks. You need BCs to break that.
By the way, you beat Flash in an early 40-minute TVT. You do have a realistic chance of winning this best of 5. Just going to put this out here,
Light's a legit player, man. This is really well played.
This is really showing,
His securing of the center of the map was it was brilliant.
I mean, this is a real game of endurance, man.
It is. TVT is an endurance fest. This is the ultra marathon of StarCraft games. If Flash had one more, like a pizza base on that side of the map, this could go on and be a really good game. But right now, he is rubbing 2 nickels together to make a quarter. There's not much left here.
Yeah, he's just not able to do anything, is he?
You ever see that movie, Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah.
He's that guy right now, okay? He's gonna get caught.
Yeah.
This can't go on forever.
Last. Yeah.
This can't go on.
Wow, I can't believe Light did it. And I got to say, I really thought that, for a lot of this game, guys, Light was at 120 supply and Flash was at 170 or 180.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Light gained the superior position and then managed to force Flash into having consistent, less efficient trades.
It was a positional victory for sure, how Light took the center of the map and then everything dried up for Flash, unfortunately. I would say more like fortunately, because this has been an excellent game.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we're going to have a real series here. I was worried this might be a 3-0, but it's looking like it's going to be tied up 1-1.
Light is so good, man. Okay, he's going to bring his SCVs. This is the final hurrah.
Right.
There's really nothing after this.
Is he going to unsiege those tanks at the bottom, though?
Yes, he should send everything.
Something weird happened because he sieged half and then...
He should have those hotkeys.
All right, here we go.
Separated, but okay. Yeah, this is... Let's see what Flash can do. I mean, he's got a lot of units coming from the bottom as well.
Oh, my God. All right, he's going to try to come in here from both sides.
Oh, my God.
This is where the zoom feature gets really cool here.
Such a large battle. Ooh, maybe moved a little bit too far forward.
There's just too many tanks.
Yeah.
GG! Light wins game 2. Unreal.
An amazing game. This is a great series so far. The very more standard map Flash dominates on. This map, a very different one. They both went for really valid strategies. One player using Wraiths, the other using drop chips. That's a battle as old as time in TVT. And Light ended up out-positioning Flash in the center of the map at the end of the day. Really awesome game.
Flash looking concerned here. This might be his last ASL for a long time. And Light really brought it to him, man. Again, Light gaining a better position, not having anywhere near as much supply, but through very tenacious play, just outlasts, out-marathons the greatest gamer of all time. We've got ourselves a series. It's tied up 1-1 in this best of 5.
Yeah, another wild map coming up next in Blockchain. Definitely a map I expect to see a lot of dropship play on.
Yeah.
But who knows? There's a lot of different builds you can prepare in TVT.
Sure. A lot of different ways this matchup can operate. And yeah, Blockchain is going to be one of these unusual maps. And I guess we did finally get to see what a tripod game would look like, and it was indeed a long game. Possibly our longest game of the night, but TVT at times is the longest matchup.
I'd be surprised if we have a match longer than that one. That match just kind of lends itself to...
It's the way the map is shaped, basically. It's kind of hard. It incentivizes the players to not attack right away.
You have to have a lot of supply to try to starve your opponent out.
Right.
Like, you can't really contain on that map very easily. So, excellent game from both sides. I think they both made it just a series of great moves against each other. Wow. TVT is a beautiful and wonderful matchup.
It's crazy how it operates. I mean, all centered around the tank, in siege mode, and the fact that there's really no way to get in there and efficiently attack a siege tank in siege mode.
It's hard, yeah.
And so you're all playing around that and trying to control different parts of the map. By the way, hang on to your tickets. We got to give away at the end of the show, but first a commercial break, and then we go to game 3.
So good. Feeling so good. 네, 오늘 소개해드릴 곡은 여성 보컬의 목소리가 아주 매력적인 노래입니다. ASL 시즌 8 클로징에 쓰인 페리스의 데스 오브 미라는 곡인데요. 페리스는 2012년 결성된 미국 출신의 3인조 혼성 밴드로 데뷔 앨범이었던 화이트 노이즈가 빌보드 얼터너티브 앨범 차트 4위에 오르면서 일약 스타덤에 올랐고요. 작년에는 한국에 방문해서 공연을 펼치기도 했죠. 데스 오브 미는 다양한 장르가 섞인 구성에도 린제이의 목소리에 집중하여 편히 듣기 좋은 신스팝 스타일의 곡입니다. 그럼 매력적인 린제이의 보컬 함께 감상해 볼까요? 목소리가 참 매력적이죠. 저도 자신만의 색깔이 있는 보컬이 되고 싶습니다.
저희는 다음에도 더욱더 좋은 ASL BGM과 함께 돌아오겠습니다. 다음에 다시 만나요.
안녕!
세 번째 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
근데 이 드론들이 지금 좀 과한 좀 움직임이 아니었나도 싶은데 말이죠.
네. 이때 집을 비우기 위해서 터렛을 더 지어놓고 나가기는 했거든요.
좀 어정쩡한 위치입니다. 돌아오긴 애매하고 일단 가봐야죠. 안마당 쪽.
네.
네. 카드 입구 쪽 여기 성큰 하나거든요.
네.
자 뚫어버립니다. 점사. 1구까지 동원하고 있는 상황인데 뒤에 뮤타는 달려들 수가 없고요.
예, 터렛 하나 우선적으로 하나밖에는 없었고 다른 병력으로의 조합이 지금은 안 된 상황이기 때문에 예, 그냥 골리앗으로 1업 됐을 때 올라가서 지금은 싸워보는 거죠.
아, 들어가서 하나씩 잘 끊어먹어요.
이런 식의 그 견제 플레이를 워낙 잘하다 보니까 뭐 컴셋이고 뭐고 올릴 시간도 없어요.
밀고 좀 들어오는데요. 위쪽으로 올라가고 있습니다.
병력이 뒤로 좀 더 안전하게 빠질 수 있었어야 되는데
놀라요.
이게 이쪽 해처리를 만약에 내준다선 치더라도 히드라를 살리고 추가되는 병력으로 이 병력을 완벽하게 한 번에 깔끔하게 잡아낼 수 있을 만한 포지션을 잡는 게 더 나았을 것 같다는 생각이 들거든요. 근데 뒤로 빠지다가 막다른 골목으로 빠지다가 히드라들이 좀 몰살했어요.
적으로서는 절대 싸우면 안 되는 구도였었거든요.
네.
이거 막아내야 되거든요.
탱크 일단 하나는 끊었고.
네. 지금 마이메스에 있어가지고 올라오는 게 쉽지가 않습니다.
아, 중간중간에 많이 또 있어서 다수의 뭐 뮤탈리스크 주력이긴 합니다만은 히드라가 아예
시제 네 번째 세트 대결을 시작하겠습니다.
입구.
자, 입구 쪽
막아야죠.
딱 나오면서 지금 히드라가 입구 쪽을 허용을 안 했습니다. 만약에 들어갔었으면은 드론도 지금은 피가 다 빠졌는데 안 죽었고요.
여기서 러커
뮤탈스키에 대비하게끔 만들고 아이고 쫓아가.
봤어요.
러커 에그 봤어요. 러커 깊숙하게 들어왔어요.
예, 지금 골리앗까지 오고 있는 상황에서
골리앗들이 산계에 나가면서 자 이게 터렛이
올라가야
완성이 안 되면
아래쪽에 이제 터렛이 있기는 한데 이게 들어오는 과정이 가시밭길이라
터렛까지 왔어요.
들어오는 과정이 가시밭길이에요.
뚫어버려. 자 내려서
마인.
자 그런데 체력이 많아요 이 벌초. 아니 그 러커는
예.
뒤에 쪽 하나 또 있고.
그렇습니다.
탱크가 지금 필요하겠는데요.
그렇죠. 탱크가 없는 것을 중간에 이제 벙커와 골리앗의 배치로 지금 준비를 해줬습니다.
그러네요. 지금 여기서
내가 본진 자원 떨어지고 9시 확장을 가져가는 시기였기 때문에 자 병력들이 다 나가 있긴 했었거든요.
네. 자 탱크가 와서 위치를 잡고 있거든요.
자 파괴.
예, 벌써 깼고요.
그러다 보니까 있었던 병력들이 위쪽으로 지금은 다 나온 상황인데
지금 이레디가 없어서 예 한번 부셨지 않습니까?
이 병력으로 지금은 주력 병력 다 물리치는 상황입니다.
그렇죠.
카운터 유닛이 없는 거나 마찬가지니까요.
네.
뮤탈이 이렇게 많기 때문에 사실 탱크는 없는 병력이라고 봐도 될 만큼 지금 수비에 전혀 도움이 안 되는 상황이고요.
네.
이거 커맨드 센터까지 점사해서 깰 수 있거든요. 화력이.
깹니다. 여기 9시 깨져요. 시제 5세트 대결을 시작하겠습니다. 바로 지금 베럭스를 올리고 있습니다. 센터 쪽 나와서 아래쪽에다 올리고 있어요.
네, 승률 자체는 그냥 노멀하게 싸웠을 때도 이 조기석 선수가 승률이 조금 더 높은 맵이 이 블록체인이거든요. 저그 상대로 77% 정도 승률을 갖고 있으니까.
거물로!
드론 못. 자, 드론
자 1군으로 맞고.
1군도 맞고.
드론 점사.
저글링도 지금은 맞고
들어서
자, 그랬는데 저글링이 뛰쳐나왔습니다. 흘러나왔어요.
자 일꾼 동원하면서 어떻게든 막아내야 되는데 한 개라도 좀 나와야 되는 상황이에요.
가진 게 아무것도 없는 거나 마찬가지예요.
없어요.
깨지면
SCB도 지금은 동원을 했고 머리도 지금은 잡혔습니다. 저글링 2기 선발대 때문에 자 뚫렸어요. 세계 최초 세계 최초 4강.
자 김성대
분명히 어렵다고 생각된 경기가 초반부터 있었거든요.
그렇죠.
베럭스가 하나 반 정도밖에는 없는 상황이에요. 그러니까 뮤탈리스트에 업그레이드 찍어가면서 뮤탈리스트로 계속 상대방을 쥐고 흔들어도 되는 거고 파이브를 가도 되는 거고.
네, 판투는 없죠. 이런 소수면적은요.
부족함이 없어요.
김성대 오늘 힘들었던 여정에 마침표를 찍습니다. 드디어 가네요. 세계 최초 4강.
AfreecaTV ASL Season 8 Expansion.
All right, guys, we're having a kick-ass night tonight. Tied up 1-1. Flash having to work to move on to the round of 4. And look at Light. I mean, this is, you can feel the intensity, you know. There is a chance he could win this. He just has to win 2 more games against the greatest gamer of all time, Artosis.
Yeah. I think its best chance is this. The weird maps are the ones where you have a better chance. Ground Zero is such a straightforward macro map.
Right.
And there's not even locations really to proxy on that one, so it's... He shouldn't be waiting for set 4 to pick up his second win. This is where Light has to show us a really great build, a really great game like previously.
All right, game 3 on Blockchain is ready. Flash vs. Light continues on.
Now playing in Blockchain.
So Flash in the top right. Light in the bottom right. Are you proud of me, Tasteless?
Yeah, you're killing it. With these, like, this guy's over there and the other guy's over there.
Yeah.
You are just...
Well, also, I haven't been saying anything about their two names put together and how that's like a real thing.
We kept joking about how we want to make all these flashlight jokes. Big showing here in the audience. Totally packed here in the studio.
Yeah.
So again, I want to bring this up again because it's already been a pretty long night here with these two TVTs, and I'm sure people are still continuing to tune in. But you know, this might be Flash's. Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What about me?
How far away is your birthday, actually?
A long way away.
Yeah, a long
It's
way away,
April.
right? April. It's never too late, right?
That guy didn't hold up a sign for me on my birthday.
No, he's got to come back later on. I actually bumped into him on the way to the studio.
Nice.
He flew in here from South Africa. That is a crazy long flight.
Wow, yeah. Seriously.
That is like, whoa.
Isn't it quicker to go through the center of the Earth?
It has to be. It has to be.
You have to find a volcano and wear like really good anti-heat clothes.
Get 2 ice
Cover
packs.
yourself with oven mitts and jump into a volcano.
Yeah.
Not the cloth oven mitts, it's the rubber ones, okay?
Yeah, of course. We don't mess around here. No, I'm very curious to see what kind of game we're going to have here. This map is kind of funny because the Edge expansions are kind of islandish. So a lot of times this becomes, a series of drop ships being shot out and people trying to quick win positions.
Well, here they're actually both going for a gaseous expansion. Nothing particularly wrong with that. It's kind of safe. This is a very proxyable map, so you don't want to go straight up.
Right.
Command center.
The risk
first.
is too high.
Yeah. It's like, command center first is good against gasless expand, which is good against, proxy raxes and stuff like that. And then you got your very middle of the road, just gas expand, with a factory. But yeah, both going for that quick command center. So somewhat similar to the previous game, just a little bit less economic. And now we get to see what type of game they want to do from here. Are you trying to go vultures for control? That doesn't feel like a great idea on this map.
Right.
It can look kind of like what we saw in the previous game. I don't think you go straight into 2-port. Not again, at least. Not going to be as strong here. You definitely can set up contains and whatnot. Don't forget that the 4 bases that are island-ish are reduced mineral and gas, and
That's
only
correct.
6 patches. So those are, it's great to take them because they're kind of easy to defend overall. It's hard for your opponent to attack them, is probably a better way to put it. It's hard to attack, hard to defend. But yeah, they're just not worth as much.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if this is a map where actually it gets cut in half. In game 1, Flash really showed, I think, about as flawless of a game as you could ever ask for. Game 2, I mean, Flash was playing near perfectly, but Light went for the position play, and Flash decided that he would probably just be able to outproduce and crush through, and it didn't turn out to be the case. And I mean, Light played one of the best TVTs I've ever seen on tripod back there.
Oh, yeah,
that was incredible.
Played really well, and I think he had a good understanding of what he needed to do. A lot of times, maps in StarCraft are, like, if it goes late TVT, a lot of times a player with the center of the map will end up winning.
Right.
And now, like, for instance, if you look at Fighting Spirit, there's a huge expansion in the center of the map. So a lot of times if that goes split map, whoever gets the center wins.
Right.
this map could go like that. That's obviously a very valuable center base. It did get reduced gases and I think minerals on this version. But yeah. Anyways,
okay.
this is a big attack.
Flash is going to try to come in here. Now, the SCV is here to lead to absorb the first shot from Marines. Actually, Flash slightly miscontrolling here.
Yes.
Flash miscontrolling here. And that's just a hold.
Yeah. That was beautifully held by Light. Holy crap.
Yeah, that was perfect.
He killed 4 Marines with 3 Marines, and he didn't lose SCVs, so that was awesome.
And you saw it, and it started to snowball out of control when Flash mismicroed the first Marine. He didn't pull it away as quick as he needed to.
Yeah. Super well done. And the 2 SCVs being pulled up was really important as well. They put that extra damage on there. Now, Light has popped out a Vulture. He's going double add-on, whereas Flash is going into 3 factory, and he's already producing. So if you look at these 2 builds, now we don't know exactly what Light's doing. Is he going to go Siege Tank Goliath? Because if he's going Vulture, Flash is going to win this game quickly. So
there's a funny rule with Vultures in TVT.
Yeah.
You know, and that, you know, on very open maps, even though the Vulture is in a lot of ways, like with its shots, kind of terrible against Goliaths and tanks, if you get enough of them, it starts to get crazy. Here we go.
Yeah, they are actually just such a fantastic
They're also such an in-between unit, right? Tanks, it takes a while to get out. You can actually get a surprisingly large number of Vultures out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Does he want to get speed with this? Is that how this works?
Yes, he will definitely get speed next. He already got mines.
Oh, okay.
And he will just do a little bit of contain. But yeah, when you go 3 factory Vulture, you need to get your speed upgrade as well.
How many tank shots is it to kill a mine? 2. Okay. I thought both of those tanks just shot that one mine and it survived.
They hit a Vulture.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
You gotta target mines because Vultures have higher priority.
Yeah.
So
that's actually
there's a lot of micro involved in that.
It's a big factor in StarCraft in general is that, you know, in StarCraft 2, for instance, the AI targets whatever is attacking it most that is closest.
Yeah.
In StarCraft 1, it'll prioritize some units over others, right?
Yeah. And that's a really important thing to watch for because there are definitely battles where you have to do things like target mines down. Now, this is actually a big pickoff for Light. That is a great pickoff to get that barracks right now because Flash is only on 3 facts.
Yeah, and you need the barracks to make more factories, guys.
Yeah, and look how quickly he's removing these mines as well. Wow! This is actually good for Light right here. Because what Flash was doing, this is very standard stuff where you go for Vultures, and then you realize that they are not also going for Vultures, so you switch into tanks very quickly, and you try to get your tanks up behind some mines to help protect them. And, like, it's a great move. It's very standard TVT fare. And Flash is going straight for it, but Light nailed that. He cleaned it out in perfect time so that he did not get contained. And now Flash is having to set up in a very defensive posture.
Here comes Light. Oh, notice he went around here. He's trying to go for a flank. Yeah. Is this going to work? What are the? Okay, the tanks are positioned in a way that's a very flankable location.
Yes.
That's flank city, my friend.
If he attacks from that side and then hits from the bottom as well, he'll eliminate these tanks reasonably well.
I got to say, I feel like Light is really outclassing Flash here. Okay, here we go. Flank has started.
Well, that's a lot of tanks from Flash, and he has siege mode set up, so if he targets tanks down
he needs to get the tanks.
He should hold.
Oh, Artosis. I think these Goliaths can actually get in here and start to really do some damage.
Yeah, and they certainly are getting in here. More tanks coming down, though, for Flash.
Okay, the 3rd tank does go down.
Yeah, big kill, and he gets the last Goliath as well. So Flash ends up holding. But yeah, it was a good move. And now Flash taking another main just willy-nilly. So
is Light, yeah.
I love it.
You know, Terran vs. Terran especially, it looks like Go in the games. Like you're trying to surround them and kind of close them off.
In those territories and whatnot. Yeah. Absolutely. So Light has a bit of a contain up. If he somehow sends intuits the top left and sends like even a Vulture there, that is a big moment in this game. Because if he can just stop that command center from building, and/or just get up there in general, that is going to be so good for him. But Flash looks like he wants to try to break this area, sacrificing a couple Vultures to get those tank hits off. Very nice. Flash is trying to make himself a path so that he can actually move around the map a little bit.
Yeah, and Light is basically trying to cut him out of the picture. Now, there's an SCV scout here. Dude, this is getting better and better for Light here.
Yes.
This scout was so important because a not scouted main will completely cause the other player to miscalculate their position.
Yeah. Finding this, oh my god. What does Flash do now?
I got to point out here, the upper left base is really important because of that gas. He needs to get the gas to get enough tanks to come out here. Oh no!
Oh my god, those 2 tanks from the bottom are going to wreck. Oh, beautiful.
My god.
The Goliath's moving forward is so strong as well.
I like him covering up the 1 tank that's injured with the barracks. So can't be targeted. I don't know if that's intentional, but that is what ended up happening there. Now, hold on. Did Flash actually break free?
Yeah, it seems so. Definitely that was a scary moment, though, with those tanks coming from the south.
Absolutely.
I thought that Light might be able... If Light had cleared that set of tanks, this would have been close to me being like, okay, this game is almost over.
Right.
Because if you clear those tanks, you have that containment, you can suddenly hit the top left, and Flash is down a base. But right now, Light has pulled back a bit. There's becoming a bit of a no man's land in the center, which, yeah, the starports are going up. They should be rushing up towards +2 at this point because it doesn't really feel like anyone can kill each other.
Right.
And maybe getting into a little bit of dropship play.
Remember, guys, vultures do not set off mines. That's another little small thing that you got to note. So it's the tanks and the Goliaths it's the real threat of that over there. Now, this one vulture is going to come in here, beginning to attack the bottom left. So they both know exactly where they're at in this game.
Yeah,
okay.
They really do.
Confirming the other mains are taken is very important.
And it's very close right now. I can't really name who's winning. I think Flash is getting a dropship out more quickly. So maybe I lean towards him because he has potential with it, but it's so close it doesn't even matter.
Okay, I was actually about to ask this question when he beat me to it. I was going to say it would make more sense to take the other natural instead of one of the islandy, right?
Yeah.
Islandy locations, and
yeah,
and so he's doing that. But you know, there's not a ton of bases on this map. Now, I don't think anybody's going to be mining from the center, but if they do start to mine from the center and they keep it for a long time, they will win this game.
Yeah, that's if this game gets completely cut in half and no one can kill each other, it will become a battle for the center, and this is also a BC map.
Yes.
Unlike the 3-player map Tripod, like you probably wouldn't see BCs there as often, but a map like this, the center, like if someone sieges up, the only way to break is Yamato at that point, a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a slight possibility. I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but
this is.
I always like to point out if 2 people are both trying to break down the same thing, one of them's wrong.
Yeah.
In this case, it was Light that was wrong there.
Yeah. There's basically no moment where both sides are attacking an object to open it up. It's like, well, somebody's going to lose this, right? Either that or it's like an absolute perfect trade. So
even in that case, like someone has to be wrong. There's no way.
Yeah. So Flash is banking Wraiths right now. Oh, now hold on. We have Light pushing up here. And this push is very important because they both have the map cut in half, but there's a chance that Light can actually trickle his army up north.
Yeah, that's... Okay, so he's slowing it down with these vultures there. He's going to set up a few siege tanks. Yeah, that's enough siege tanks, so he should be able to just hold on to this area.
But I'll tell you what, controlling this location over here does mean that Light, in theory, should be the center left.
That's a really good point. If he kills an assimilator, it becomes his area for the most part.
Yeah, very true.
Very true. Flash did switch into Wraiths, like you said, and Light is making Wraiths, but out of 1 starport, whereas Flash is making them out of 3.
Yeah.
So...
And there's this whole phase where it seems like things are slowing down, but they're actually about to ramp back up with an air fight here.
There are a few turrets around. That's so important. Maybe he already scouted that this was occurring.
Yeah.
These turrets are really going to hamper those Wraiths.
It's very hard to keep track of you know, who's going where on this map.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. We got a push coming down here from Flash. And he's going to try to break through this area over here.
It's almost worth it to target the turret right now, to be honest. He has so many
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, he gets that turret down. That's actually kind of a big moment. With the Wraiths, he should be able to fly in right now, overwhelm Light's Wraiths, and then force an unsiege and then gain more ground. And if he can kind of put a light containment on, or even a heavy containment onto the main base, it's such a big moment.
Okay, he needs to kill that SCV, making the turret first and foremost.
Oh my god, what a big moment here for Flash.
And again, when you have this many tanks, this many wraiths, the tanks are just very easily picked off.
Look at this. He's decided to give up a ton of his tanks instead of give up this area right now.
Right.
But the thing is, he doesn't have enough anti-air coming, so I think he loses the area and he loses the tanks.
Yeah,
and that's the worst of all worlds.
The turret finishes, but he didn't siege up by the turret.
Yeah. Oh my god. Flash just demolishing with these wraiths right now.
Okay, and here's the thing. He's actually going to get over here. There's just enough wraiths so they can actually take on a turret. You need quite a bit of wraiths to do that, by the way. Again, wraiths almost never want to fight straight up. You know, they want to use their cloak or hit units that can't attack back.
Yeah. A +2 is done.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something, but not enough anti-air still here.
Yeah. Again, and I think this actually might be Flash's neck-breaking move here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of the 1-2 punch, right? The wraiths suddenly clean up the ground position. Whoa. And then,
you know what? Flash does not have scan right now. Okay, he finally gets energy for a scan there, or maybe.
No, that was. Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, because he ran away from like 3 wraiths with like 9 wraiths. So that's when you know someone doesn't have a scanner, didn't hotkey their scanner. So Light still has a lot of economy. He did lose a lot there. Flash has more of the map. And again, on these 4-player maps that have an expansion in the center, having more of the map is actually very important. Even if there was an expansion there, just having more terrain is strong in TVT.
Okay, beginning to hit these tanks. Again, light. This is a very, very big problem because again, the tanks are the most important unit in the matchup, and so when you lose a ton of them, it's hard for you to ever take that final fight.
Yeah.
A lot of TVTs end with the player who was holding still, unsieging, moving forward with everything, sieging up right in front of his opponent's tanks, and annihilating that line of defense. But when you lose this many tanks that we're seeing here, I mean, how do you do that? And now we see Flash in the similar fashion coming down here now. Now, there's still a lot of tanks here for Light. Can Flash actually break this position?
I think he can push it back a little bit more, but the +2 is definitely helping.
Ooh, the Valkyries is an interesting move here.
Oh, yeah.
If any of those uncloak, by the way, they're just going to start being attacked. Whoa!
Yeah.
Really great play here by Light.
Valkyries beat Wraiths.
It's like
so hard.
Yeah, to a comical degree.
It really is comical.
The problem is that the Valkyries, of course, can't attack the ground, right? So you basically got to win the air fight by fiat, but then you don't have anything but spotters.
It's too bad for Light. If he just had a few more tanks here, like if he had 4 more tanks in that area, remember how many tanks he lost to the initial Wraith push? That's really what got Flash into this beautiful position.
The thing is, Flash is trying to gain access to the bottom left. He's already got some vultures in there, but if he can get an army down there, if he can get like a tanks, Goliath to set up, Light's going to get starved out of this game.
Yeah. Still trying to break through, coming down forward. I mean, this is a lot of tanks for Light, so Flash is being a little bit wasteful here.
Yeah, this is actually a misplay here by Flash.
Light can retake some of this ground if he wants.
Light is outgrowing Flash, by the way. If Flash doesn't break that spot, this is just... Light's going to continue to grow. The only other big factor here, guys, if you look at the center left and the center right of the map, Flash actually has control over that. And this is eerily similar in ideas to the tripod game, game 2.
Yeah.
Light has... actually, I'm sorry, it's actually the reverse of that, I should say, but it's the same ideas, right? One player has control of the center. In this case, it's Flash. The other player has control of the edges and more bases. And in this case, it's Light.
You know, it is. It's like kind of switched up from that last game in that way between the players. But we just saw Flash adding a bunch of factories. So right now it seems like he's got the idea that he is just going to brute force his way through this game.
Yeah.
He does have a pretty sizable bank right now, so I don't think it's a bad call.
Okay, not bad. Dropping these vultures over here. Again, Light playing the TVTs of his life right now. And again, there's nothing to defend. This is actually a lot of SCVs being killed off. I don't see any army. Okay, he's sending some vultures of his own up here.
Yeah, and obviously he'll kill these off, and he lost some SCVs, but it's not really the end of the world. You know, we're getting into positions now. Yeah, see that center being taken? I think that Flash just realized that this game is going super long. It's going to be really hard for either player to break the other. The map is not really that wide, so mass dropship play can be a little bit tricky. Like, you might get one of them off, and then your opponent's going to super defend against dropship.
Yeah.
So But Light holding on to this area, this is kind of cool. It gives him a staging area to attack forward with dropships if he so desires.
Yeah. Flash has got to be very careful about that. Now, Flash getting the center here. It's not that easy to push with what Light has right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Neither side can push. Two gas geysers in the center.
Yes.
Okay.
They are reduced.
We just never have anybody take the center ever on this map, so I'm actually just not sure. I thought I saw it too, but and so 2 gas geysers is pretty big because that can balance out the 2 gas geysers that Light should inevitably get over in the center left and the center right.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point actually. Yeah.
Which means that actually it's still split economically.
Yeah, it is somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm just really interested to see once this becomes slightly more turtled if someone goes into BC. Because when it becomes super turtled, BC tank is the end game.
Right.
A few tanks, mostly BCs.
Yeah, you want to use that Yamato gun on those battle cruisers as well.
Yeah, and tanks kind of stop the only thing that could ever beat BC, which would be mass Goliath. And the thing is, there's all sorts of small permutations based on army sizes and what's left on the map. Like you might have science vessels mixed in, you might have Valkyries mixed in, you might try to do a giant Wraith switch to knock out the BCs when they're out of position. Obviously, mass turrets get made. But yeah, as I see more turrets made and more tanks sieged, becomes a big question. Like, do you think you're actually going to kill your opponent with these drops? Are you going to actually be able to break through the tank line? Because the longer that you remain cost inefficient trying to end the game, the more late game units your opponent's going to be able to afford.
Yeah.
Right? For every extra tank you throw away.
Oh, well, hold on, Artosis.
Yeah, it's a lot of drop
Flash is setting up to have a jaw-breaking move here, where I think Light might be maybe going towards more BCs. Do we have the BC tech yet?
No.
I don't believe we've seen it on
100% Light does not, unless he made a second science facility, which is like space brain move.
Here we go.
Okay, there you go. This could be mass Wraith, though, as well.
That's true.
Some people like that.
There's this little trick. You'll actually see it used against Protosses who go carriers as well, where Wraiths make so much faster. If they're going BCs, you can just spring out a bunch of Wraiths and kind of shoot down all the battle cruisers. But it can occasionally not pan out that well in the long run.
If you have a really big economy,
here we go. Here we go.
This is the moment. Yeah. Okay, Flash trying to take a giant move here. Yeah, that's strong right there.
Wow. Okay.
There's no way that. Well, I mean, I don't know how many dropships he has. Light might be able to clear that eventually.
The thing is, he can really easily reload and come back in. I don't think Light has that many dropships, man. I might be wrong about this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I've never seen more than 2 or 3, I think.
The thing is, he can siege up this side and just say, okay, you're not mining it either. And of course, that puts Flash at an advantage because he has the center.
Yeah, I was going to say, but Flash has 2 gases in the center, so...
Okay, it is going to be BC.
Battle cruisers, so he's going to put the add-ons here. He can't make battle cruisers without the add-ons.
Now, there's like all sorts of silly little tricks that you can do in TVT. Like, for instance, he had his science facility floating over on that right-hand side. So sometimes what happens, now it's Flash, so it probably won't happen, but like if you have a science facility floating somewhere, you're like, well, they wouldn't make a second one, so he's not going BCs. He'd land this one, right?
You know what?
But you can just make the second one. But whenever you see a big BC switch, it almost always happens at the other main base that the Terran has. So normally what happens in a game like this is you just continually scan there looking for starports.
Right.
And we don't know where they're scanning. We hear tons of scans going down. Okay, he sees it.
If I'm understanding Flash's game plan correctly, I think he's decided that basically dropship play can activate and punish more quickly than Light can get enough battle cruisers out due to the islandish nature of this map.
Yeah, and he made that great move, and he's switching into BCs at the same exact time as Light.
Right.
But to switch into BCs, you must start throwing away units.
Yeah, so let's talk about this, because we're about to get to this moment. We're going to see SCVs thrown into siege tanks, which looks like, from an outside perspective, like the worst thing ever. But actually, workers become less important. You've pretty much mined out a lot of the important parts of the map. Giving up workers allows you to make more battle cruisers, which is the final unit. I guess that, and then the one science vessel to EMP the other battle cruisers.
Sure. Well, eventually you actually even want your dropships to die. You want You want all your Goliaths to die eventually.
Oh my God.
You need to have just enough siege tanks that your opponent can't go Goliaths, and can't push you with tank turret either. Okay, so just gonna clean this up for now. The thing is, Light just immediately remade his supply with battlecruisers. Flash will probably do that right now as well, with what he lost. But you have to be very careful about this, because if your opponent, you could have all these dropships full of cool units.
Yeah.
And if your opponent has more BCs, he's ahead. So
it's very
Flash has to decide: do I like save these units and try to be cost efficient? Do I start throwing these away, even if it's slightly cost inefficient, to get more BCs making? Because eventually, it's just siege tank, turret, Yamato.
Right.
It's like it breaks everything. See, dropships, Goliaths, none of that stuff matters.
Keep in mind too that, battlecruisers, they take a long time to make. So that, there's this whole balancing act. Okay, like you have more battlecruisers now, but do you engage? Do you wait a little bit? Don't come out too early with your BCs in case they did in fact decide to go wraiths and blindside you. Here comes another drop here. Again, Flash is going to try to take control of this area. Even though it's not the expansion itself, it's the area that allows you to control that expansion area.
Feels like Flash's moves are just stronger each time.
Yeah, and
like he just got rid of supply. Right. This was a better move than what Light did.
Yeah. Again, in the center right, nobody's mining. Flash did not try to claim that expansion. He tried to make sure that nobody can have it.
Yeah.
Because he'll probably just be able to outlast Light in that way in a longer game. And we're getting to a lot of BCs being made here.
Yeah.
Here's the first wave coming out. Again, Light not looking bad at all.
No, but Flash has been a little bit more efficient. He's mined more because of the center and the denied right base. So definitely, it looks like Flash is ahead, but there are more BCs out quicker. Yeah, see, it's just time to throw them away. They don't do anything anymore. It's just, there's more BCs out quicker for Light.
Yeah.
So I feel like what Light really needs to focus on is a Yamato turret siege tank push upon the center. If he can get Flash out of the center, the game becomes pretty even. If he can take over the center, then he can win.
Right. Now, let's see here. Yeah, I guess if he takes out the center, then Flash literally just won't be able to mine from anywhere and we'll just lose. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's tough, though, because, Flash has a big bank. He has enough money right now to make 10 BCs in his bank.
I'm sorry, where are Flash? Oh, there's BCs, all right.
Yeah, it's only 2, though. It's only 2, and they came out later, so he's going to have Yamatos first.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to think of the battlecruisers like Templars with Sidestorm here.
Somewhat.
Like the ones that come out first are the ones that are going to have the energy first. And the Yamato really is what allows you to get momentum and propel you forward in a fight. Now, there's a few Goliaths out here, which is a quick answer here for the battlecruisers of Flash.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Goliaths still have some value right at this moment to push these siege tanks back. But you have to actually edge up, like, centimeter by centimeter here. You need your tanks, like, doing ultimate zone control.
Okay, again, these Goliaths, it's very hard to traffic them around the map here. There's basically 3 parts in the center. There's the base in the middle, and then these 2 lanes here on the right and left.
So you're going to hit the EMP right there? That would be amazing.
Oh my God, he just does it.
And he kills a BC.
Okay, that was, I'm actually a little bit shocked, actually, that actually worked there, because, I mean, you really need the energy for Yamato, and now I feel like advantage Flash here.
A lot of times in situations like this, you'll see just vessels suiciding in for EMPs and getting Yamatoing.
You can even defensive matrix 1 vessel and fly that vessel in there
and
and
you
have
have to use 2 Yamatos,
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you EMP it, like whoever gets the Yamatos off first, that's an advantage. Especially in BC versus BC, 2 Yamatos kills the BC, just like 2 siege tank shots kills a siege tank. I'm just so happy right now. The amount of PvPs I've had to cast in the last few years, and I finally get this.
Yeah, we don't get to cast very many TVTs lately. It's kind of funny.
And every time there's a TVT day, for some reason I'm traveling, and it's it's so stupid. So I'm so happy at this moment to be able to sit here and watch this and just explain this to everybody, because it's just amazing.
Okay, so who actually has more battlecruisers? It's still Light, right? Oh my God, here we go.
Oh my God, amazing. Now, every time that happens, now we don't have Yamatos, and now we almost have to wait longer.
I'm sorry, what is the actual amount of energy a Yamato shot takes?
150.
150, I thought it was 125. Okay, 150.
Yeah, you can never have 2 Yamatos.
Now, hold on. Light's actually doing it, guys.
Yeah.
He's actually coming in here. This is going to be at least 1 gas denial.
I'd love to see how much gas is left in these geysers at this point. I think that they're almost dry. I guess when he kills it, we'll be able to see.
Okay, he's going to try to come here from the top. Scans coming down.
Yeah, does he have better upgrades right now on him as well? Okay, he's actually... Light's playing very fearfully here.
Yeah.
He has one less attack upgrade. And upgrades on BCs definitely do matter.
Certainly.
It's not the biggest thing. Yamatos matter the most, and then Science Vessel Energy matters the second most.
Right. Okay.
Ooh!
Oh, here we go.
Yes!
Nicely done.
Beautiful.
That was beautifully done. This actually may allow Light to come in here with an execution move. Again, you know, you lose those vessels, you got to remake them, and then you got to wait for them to get enough energy.
Yeah. The vessels are actually incredibly important in these situations.
Okay, here we go.
Enough?
What am I seeing here?
You're seeing Light. Okay,
right, there we go,
very good defense matrix. He is fighting over a turret, and there is a Goliath in there as well that adds to the math a little bit. 2-2 against, I believe it's 1-2 right now.
You want to target fire in this situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You want to target
them
down? You want to target BCs down immediately. Which I feel like Light's not doing perfectly, but Flash is.
Oh my God! Flash came out on top.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I just don't understand the math on this as well as Flash does. Okay.
He made way more starports. At first, Light had more, but he didn't have as many starports to build BCs quickly.
Okay.
Oh,
now,
there's a very damaged one. Please kill it.
Now hold on a second.
Yes.
Can Light switch into just mass Goliaths and try to counter push up there?
If your opponent pulls back correctly with siege tanks, you will lose because you did the mass Goliath switch. Like, see these tanks? Now he just hits the siege mode button and suddenly unbreakable.
Yeah. Oh, gotta be careful. Almost losing that one battle cruiser.
Yeah, you never want to lose BCs to turrets.
And EMP is 100 energy, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, Science Vessels are such an important part of the stance. Whenever you see them, you want to Yamato them. They only take one Yamato, and the thing is, they can negate Yamatos both through EMP and Defense Matrix. Like, you can actually tell if you play a lot of TVT what the Yamatos are aiming at based on how the BC moves. And you can actually, like, D-Matrix stuff. Like, if they're trying to Yamato a tank, you can D-Matrix it, saves it. Bam, done.
Yeah, and then the Yamato's basically wasted.
Yeah. So, the Science Vessels are such crucial units here, and they cost a lot of gas, by the way, but
look at the minerals moving very slowly here. This map is almost mined out.
Yeah, very close.
Oh my God, he's not even really mining in the middle.
Flash has no gas left.
Yeah, look at that. It's going up by 2s.
Wow. Flash is gonna. He still has some mining. The thing is, a lot of this, a lot of what we see with the missing minerals and the minerals going up slowly. There's a lot of repairing going on. You're still probably adding a few turrets here and there.
Right.
And don't forget, you have to throw away a lot of your SCVs. Like, when you get a huge bank like Flash had, again, he had enough money in bank for 10 BCs at once. You want to make the 10 BCs. It's almost better to not mine and to have a bigger, better army. Because Yamato is like mining in a way.
Okay, Flash continuing.
Oh, and EMP just hit there.
Oh, yeah.
They have, like, no energy.
But does he have enough to just brute force his way through here? All right.
He might.
EMP, I think all these are energy-less.
3-3.
Now, hold on. Light's holding out hope that he can get enough battle cruisers here in the end, but, you know, Flash is basically maxed out.
He has 3 Goliaths here as well. Let's see. If he has some Yamatos, I don't know how many he has. Oh, he doesn't have them yet. These are very fresh BCs for the most part.
And the thing is, he can actually corner these Goliaths and tanks here in the center left and just massacre them.
Okay, he's got to target as best he can. He's just barely short of Yamato energy here.
It is so crazy how good Flash is at this matchup.
Yeah, he's really good.
He is able to navigate this so perfectly. It's insane to me. I just can't believe it.
Oh my God.
And it seems like light supply is plummeting more quickly. There's the one Yamato.
Oh man.
Again, it's harder for him to get battlecruiser reinforcements over here.
This was like Flash's one real timing right there.
Yeah.
Not that he wasn't going to win anyways, but if he waited 20 seconds and did this, then Light would have wrecked his BCs. He actually would have won the battle.
These TVTs are just incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
Light really holding his own here against Flash, I gotta say. I thought this was going to be a pretty one-sided evening. I mean, I know Light's a great player, but it seems like Flash is just... He did it again. GG. G.
Gotta be careful about those single Gs.
That's right, man.
You need 2 of them.
What does 1G stand for?
just means game. Grapes? I don't know. I have shot it out into the universe multiple times now. Single G is bad manner.
Think so?
Yes.
Wow. Great game there. I mean, that was one of the most technical things I've ever had to cast.
Yeah, no, it was very well done on both sides.
Look at Light.
Clutch EMPs.
Light looks exhausted.
Yeah, these are tiring games, no doubt.
Yeah.
And our next map is going to be Ground Zero. We're going back to very, very standard play. Excited to see.
Man.
It's actually, this next map is pretty good for 14cc too, so that'll be a little bit of a mind game.
Okay. Again, this is a best of 5, everybody. Flash right now with a 2-1 lead here. But Light is really bringing it. I mean, after game 1, Light really buckled down, and he's playing some of the craziest endgame TVT I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We'll go to game 4 after this short break. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
재미가 없으면 원래 TV가 아니지.
Dude, this is dark web.
저는 백수 가족의 장남 키우가 고액 과외 면접을 갑니다.
참으로 시의적절하다.
2019년 봉준호 감독의 새로운 가족 희비극.
If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because he killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do. You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
I heard the man. Stroke those keys, Jolly Green.
Traction's engaged.
You promised to bring that back in one piece, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll do my best.
As promises go, that was pretty lame.
OLED TV ASL Season 8 Expansion.
Welcome back. We're here at the ASL, and Flash is up with a 2-1 lead. But these games are nail biters.
They're really.
We are seeing just how far that TVT rabbit hole is, or how
we
far you can go.
actually truly are. That's the beautiful thing.
We are
saw
seeing the very outer limits of TVT here, man.
Yeah. Like games 2 and 3 were exactly the late game that I expected on both maps. If you get to that point, and we got to that point in both, which is, it's not that common. Like, I mean, a map like that will turn into BC if you have a pretty close match that goes long, right? But most of the time, you'll find that one player finds a way in and does enough damage and it never gets there because it's a better move to not go into BC if it's not too close. But yeah, this is fantastic. Now, this next map will never ever go into BC. This is a very different map. It's good for 14cc. The center is not buildable at all, so it's very hard to proxy a barracks or anything like that. Hard to say exactly what we're going to see, but likely a much more standard game.
Yeah. Okay, game 4 is ready. Flash vs. Light continues on.
Fight. Now playing in Neo Ground Zero.
Okay, we have both players hugging the right side of the map. It's Flash in the bottom right and Light in the upper right.
Yeah, okay. Just excited to see if they go gas or not. Like, how quick is their expansions going to be? Vultures are quite strong here. In these spots, the initial Vulture map control is likely to be very crucial to get your tanks sieged in a position where you can take the 3 o'clock expansion. That is a crucial spot because if you can take that, you then get siege tanks on high ground right outside their natural and another gas base that's close by that you can defend easily. So very likely, I would say, that we see both players open Vultures here.
I'm so impressed that Light has not done any cheeses, any really risky play. I mean, he's really just playing so straight up.
That's true.
And you got to understand, guys, Flash gets cheesed a little bit more than every other pro.
Yeah, it's
because he's so good. Because if you're going to cheese, obviously you can cheese people that are worse than you. Sometimes it's a great idea, but a lot of times it's a wise decision to try to cheese someone who's much better than you, just because you can maybe steal one of those wins, and you're just one step closer to moving on and possibly causing that upset.
So here Flash is open with a forward 11 barracks, and this is something that if Light had chosen, for instance, to go into Command Center first, there would be potential for Flash to punish it slightly.
Right.
Probably not kill it or anything. Also, you can float your barracks a little bit more quickly to scout your enemy.
This is one of the big things, is because the Marines are very temporary in TVT. You just get enough so that you can safely get into mech or expand, for instance. And so the barracks ends up taking in this role of kind of like a scouting overlord, because you just don't have any use for it, so you might as well lift it up and send it out. And of course, having it more towards the middle means you're going to get that initial scout off first. So it does give you the option to maybe try to respond or react in a certain way. And by the way, Light is about to throw that CC down here.
Yeah, he's going for the gasless expand, and Flash is a little bit lucky to scout him first here. That means he's going to be able to put on some additional pressure with the rallied Marines from the forward 11 racks. And that's going to just screw up Light's build a little bit. We already talked about that some from the first map, Overwatch, and how that kind of works out. This is the same type of idea. So Flash, in this situation, likely going to go right into a siege tank as well to hit the bunker.
Right. So we're going to have this initial SCV come out here, along with that Marine. He has not stopped making Marines here. I'm sorry, did Light make a second Marine?
Yes, he will.
Okay. Is there a number that you want to stop on either side here, or is it just sort of...
Light just wants to stay alive and get a bunker up.
Right.
He doesn't need to get like 4 or something. Okay, Flash has decided, I guess, on... He canceled...
I don't know what just happened.
He canceled the third. So if you cancel at the very last second, it's just the Marine is like coming out at that moment, but it's not actually complete, and so it just dies.
Oh, got it.
But you get the 50 minerals back.
I was so confused there for a second.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I think that only happens with
that only happens with Terran. Yeah. Because I was actually doing a double take there. I thought, I'm like, did an SCV kill the Marine, or did I see something right?
It's normal. It happens sometimes. It's just the very last second that you can cancel it at.
Basically, it literally terminates the little Marine object as it pops out.
So yeah, Flash has just a couple Marines right now. Of course, those can be used a little bit later. They can stop the scouting SCV and then maybe push a Wraith away from the siege tanks that are likely to be hitting the bunker. And Light gonna go into a second factory, it looks like. Now,
there it is now.
Now this starts to get very exciting and interesting for me, because this is like a, you know, the game. The more standard the game gets, the more that us plebs can learn from it, right? This is a ladder map, okay? Now, I'm not sure what upgrade Flash is getting right now, because against Gasless, you can actually go Vulture against that if you want. You don't have to go for the siege tank. Okay, he is going Vulture. Okay, cool. So he's going to be getting either speed or mines here.
You know, there's this funny thing for us as casters, because, like, there are some maps that are so interesting, but, you know, maybe for us as players, we're less interested. We're on a more standard map.
Yeah.
People like you and I can, and probably a lot of the people that are watching, that watch these games to learn and study, sometimes want the games on the more standard laddery
absolutely.
like, maps, you know.
That's
like
a beautiful thing about KSL. I'm like, oh, I can steal everything.
Yeah, no, it's funny, because like a map like Sparkle, I am curious to see what the best players in the world do on it, but like Sparkle ain't going to be in the world for a long time, you know. So what we find there is interesting, but maybe not applicable to other maps in the more traditional sense.
So right now, looking at this game, Flash's position's pretty cool. Okay, he's gotten his speed. He has map control right now. He's, you know, picking off a few SCVs here and there. That's really nice. He's trying not to lose Vultures. He might lose one running in to kill that SCV another time.
That's so cool. Perfectly done. Does not lose.
Wow.
Does not lose a Vulture yet.
Well, you can't target with Marines in a bunker, so it makes sense. But yeah, the siege tank is out. Okay, not too much more he can do with those. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get mines, but I think what he wants to do right here, especially getting such a great scout off, is just get siege tanks.
Yeah.
And again, if he can maintain this map control, and either, I mean, if you can get it to contain outside of their natural, because there's a ledge there, it's so insanely powerful. Because nothing can get up to the siege tanks that are at the ledge. So if he does that, that's amazing. I don't think Light will allow him to do that, but as long as he has his tanks above where the ramp is at 3 o'clock, it's a strong position.
Laying some mines here is really smart. One thing about TVT is you want to have these mines put together very, very closely. In a lot of other matchups, it's great to have them spread out like PVT, because you want each mine to get an optimal amount of damage. But tanks fire, and their animation when they shoot, you don't have to see like a bullet connect with a target. They shoot, as their animation shoots, the other, whatever is being hit by the siege tank, its hit points just drop. And so that means that you can target down mines even as they pop up. And they two-shot mines, like we're seeing here. And that's why he actually sent that initial Marine there to eat a lot of those shots. That's also why you see Vultures a lot of times on top of their own mines to kill any kind of weak unit like a Marine before it can actually set off the mine.
Yeah. Okay. So Flash has the contain, but he was going Vulture for a bit. Light's been going tank nonstop. He has a good amount of tanks. This is, oh my god, I love what we're seeing here. Because Light needs to break this quickly. He can't let it get too big. He went for actually quite a quick third command center here. So I feel like he has to pull some SCVs to break this.
Yeah,
I don't think anything else makes very much sense.
Yeah, tanks alone are not going to cut it.
Oh, Flash got supply blocks, so he had to kill his own Marines there. Okay, here come the SCVs. He's got to get these SCVs in front and then move up and siege.
Oh! No.
Oh, no.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Every tank is so important here. All right, he's going to start the attack. Nice targeting.
Yeah, he's trying to... Oh, my God. Some of his tank volleys hit the Vultures. He took damage on a tank before he even moved out.
He screwed up.
Yeah. You have to clear that perfectly.
By the way, that is really hard to do. It's one of the harder things to do in StarCraft. So when people see this and they say, oh, that's weird, he just messed up, it's just so difficult to do. And now he's going to lose this other tank. And this means Flash might even be able to shove further forward here. I mean, he's getting tanks out 2 at a time.
See the head shake, the light head shake there.
I'll tell you what, man.
Extremely.
Well, he's got to be exhausted. I mean, Flash 2. These are real grinds of games, man. Yeah. You know, and anybody who's played StarCraft knows sometimes you be playing really well, and then it's hitting hour 3 or hour 4, and you're like, man, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've been concentrating really hard for a long time.
This is This is such a terrible position that it's hard to overstate.
Yeah.
Because Light chose the siege tank route, which if you break it perfectly is really strong because you have a lot of tanks. The other way to break it is to add your factories more quickly and break it with Vulture tank.
Right.
And that's almost a more sure break, but you both are going to have no tanks at the end.
Right, and then it becomes a bit of a free-for-all.
Becomes a little bit scrappy.
Yeah.
So he was going for the raised pinky break, where it's like he's a gentleman and he's trying to have his tea and like.
Well, the challenge is that you got to do that break perfectly.
Yeah, and this
Oh my
contain
God.
is so strong right now. This is no longer breakable.
Light is in jail right now.
He's so dead right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, Flash has pretty much entombed him into his base.
He just has to take a bunch of risks. Like, I don't know, make 10 dropships. He landed the command center. He's like making SCVs. Like, you just take risk after risk right now as Light. And you notice Flash has already kind of sent up like Goliaths. He's like, okay, something's gonna fly by because you're not walking by.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay,
It's
and this drop is just getting shut down, and it's Vultures, and that's it. GG. Flash wins 3-1, as predicted by Artosis.
Yeah. And the games were actually exactly how they should have gone.
Yeah.
Based on their skills, this was an amazing night. An amazing night.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this cast. This was a lot of fun.
Light, I think he played well overall. It's just he's playing against the best player in the world ever. So
yeah, I mean, it is impressive what Light was able to pull off, though, man. I mean, he managed to win in a super long game against Flash. And I mean, Light just taking the center. I think that was the real highlight of the night, even though Flash moves on. I look forward to casting more Light's games, especially TVT in the future. I feel like... Oh, hold on, we got an interview. Sorry.
The last Terran player moving on to the round of 4 will be the best Terran player in the world. It is Flash. He beat Light 3-1 today.
지금 바로 얘기 나눠보겠습니다. 축하드립니다.
Congratulations, Flash. Thank you.
자, 한 시즌 쉬고
After
돌아왔던
taking
이영호
one
선수
season break,
굳건함을
you came back
보여주면서 오늘
so
이렇게
strong,
4강 진출
and now you make it to the round of 4.
쉽지는 않았는데
It
경기
wasn't an easy
마치신
win,
소감 어떠신가요?
but how do you feel?
예, 일단 오늘 정말 쉽지 않았던 것
Well, it
같고
really wasn't an easy game today.
준비를 진짜
And I
많이
can
해온
tell
것
that Light
같아요.
prepared really well.
게임이 너무 제 생각대로
And the games didn't go
처음에
according to my
1,
plan.
한 2경기가 좀 쉽게 안 풀려가지고
And the second set was really arduous for me.
허를 맞은 느낌이
And I felt like I was caught off guard multiple times.
힘들다고 생각했는데
And at times I felt like I might lose, but I kept my
오늘
poise.
볼거리가 많았었던 태태전이었습니다.
And TVT, it was phenomenal today.
더블 커맨드를 보면서 살짝 당황하진 않았습니까?
Were you caught off guard
어느
in the
정도는
games?
약간 빌드 싸움에서 지고 들어갈 생각으로 준비를
Well, I did
했어가지고
prepare myself
당황을 하진
in the
않았는데
TVT.
그 뒤에 운영할 때 제가
And macro,
그래도 준비한 대로 잘 해가지고 쉽게
I
이긴 것
did
같아요.
do well in terms of
그러면서
macro, so I
상대의
got
지시
the win.
타이밍이 조금 빠르기도 했던 것 같아요. 멘탈을 부수고자 했던 그 행동이 좀
You probably wanted to break Light's mentality a few times in the games, but I think it backfired on you. What do you think about that?
좋고 움직임이 잘
In the first set, Light played really well,
뭔가
and he showed really
제
smooth
생각보다는
maneuvers.
지시가 빠르긴 빨랐는데 그래도 그 뒷경기부터 해가지고
But,
자신 있었는데
you know, in the
그
games
뒤에부터가
later,
쉽지 않았던 것 같아요.
I believe I played better.
충격적이었을 것 같아요. 특히 2세트는.
I think the second set might have been really shocking for you, right?
세트가 센터가 되게 중요한 거를
Yeah, I
알고
mean for the second
있었는데
set, the center is really
재호 형이
instrumental,
저보다 더 센터를
and Light
저는
was
이제
able to
스타팅
occupy that
마크를
well.
먹고 센터를 잡아 나갈 생각이었는데
And I was gonna,
재호 형이
you know, I was gonna grab the
것 같아요.
center, but I think
그리고
Light really exploited me
싸움
in the game.
있잖아요. 이재호 선수가 먼저 이 배틀 크루저를 준비를
And Light
했다면
did go for the battle
이영호 선수는
cruisers
스캔을
first.
통해서 파악하고 나서 그 이후에 맞춰가는
And
것이었는데
then you
업도도
responded back.
빨랐고 결국에는 배틀 크루저가 더 많은 상태에서 먼저 선공을 했단 말이에요.
And
어떻게
Light
그런
did,
게 가능했나요?
and Light did go for the battle
원래 배틀
cruisers,
싸움을 할 때 뭐 하냐면
attack you first.
저도 몇 개인지 사실 파악이 안 됐고요. 그래서 뭐 지면 지는 거지.
Well, you know, I had the mindset that just whatever, and then I just went face to face in terms of battle cruisers.
들이댔는데 이기더라고요.
And then somehow I won. I came out on top in that fight.
업그레이드는 애초에 재호 형 스타일상 무조건 배틀크루저를 갈 것
Well,
같아서 제가
I knew that Lai was gonna go for
엄청 빨리
battle
돌렸어요,
cruisers,
애초에.
knowing his
그래가지고,
tendency in StarCraft.
업그레이드 발로 이긴 것도 있는 것 같아요.
But
3라운드
I
너무
think
빨리
I did
돼가지고
win
제가.
because of my tech.
아무래도 이영호 선수가 이재호 선수의 스타일을 굉장히 잘
I
파악하고
think you
있었던
really
게 아닌가
know
하는 생각이
how
들어요.
Lai plays.
경기 전에도 좀 마음대로 후반을 좀
And before
도모하게
the
두면 안
match,
될 것
you did
같다라고
say,
얘기를
you did
했는데
mention
역시
that
좀
you're not gonna let
장기전에서
Lai go into the late
찌르기도
game
하고
and try to
코가
exploit him
찔리기도 하고 그리고 결국엔
a
마지막
few phases
4세트에서
before
승리를
that.
거뒀는데 베럭 수리 타이밍에 또 탱크 싸움에서
And
승리를 거두면서
when it
좀
was the
유리했던
moment
것
to
같은데
repair the barracks,
좀 언제
you did
승리를
gain the
확신했나요?
considerable lead with the siege tanks.
제가 벌처를 쓰고 나서
After using the vultures,
쏘이기를 했을 때 탱크로 상대
kind of-
입구를 막았을 때
I kind of narrowed them down
원래
and I
그런 상황이
blocked
안
this entrance.
나오는데
Usually you don't see that often,
HCB를 조금씩 털어준 게 그런 큰
but I think
차이를
a few
가져오거든요.
things that I
어떻게
microed
순간
really
이거는
helped
질
me
수가
to achieve that.
없다라고 생각을 했습니다.
자 이제 이영호 선수 시즌 8에서
And now
4강을
Flash
치르게 될 텐데요.
is moving on to the round of
화요일 날
4.
결정돼요. 정윤종
And your
선수와
opponent will be
이영호
decided
선수의 경기가 준비돼
on
있거든요.
Tuesday.
어떤 선수가 좀 상대가 될 것
Who do you
같아요?
want to play?
개인적으로는 윤종이가 올라올 것 같은데 윤종이랑 제가
I
해본
feel
적이
like
없어요.
Rain
그래서
will
되게
come out on top in that match,
친하기도 친한데
and I've never played
이번에
against
한번
Rain. And
누가
we are close,
이기든 간에 결승
but
가는 거니까
whoever
한번 했으면
wins
좋겠습니다.
is gonna go to the
자
finals.
그리고
So I'm
오늘
gonna try my
패배전을
best.
위해서 정말 유일하게 연습 상대가 되어줬던 윤찬희
And,
선수에게도 좀 고맙다는 말을
would you like to
전해주셔야 할 것
shout
같아요.
out to Mong,
진짜 찬이 그
your
몽이가
soul scrim partner?
진짜 열심히 연습 너무 많이
Mong's
도와줘요.
helped me so much in scrims.
이제 보러 가는 그 날인데
Like he would just ditch his
제
girlfriend
입장에서는
and help me
이제
instead.
연습을 조금밖에 못 도와주는 상황이었는데 몽이가 기차를
And
놓쳤어요.
I was in a
네.
dire situation where I didn't have scrim partners.
진짜 많이 도와줬거든요.
So
한
he's helped me
50게임
so much. He's helped me like 50 games.
몽이가 먹고 싶은 거 다 진짜
So
사주도록
I'm gonna just
하겠습니다.
treat him really well after this
예,
game.
컴퓨터도 정말 열렬히 도와줘가지고
And the computer
공감을 금치 못하고 있습니다.
helped me so much as well.
컴퓨터에게는
The AI.
어떻게 한턱을 내야 되죠, 임성춘 해설님?
So how are you gonna treat
일단
the AI?
평소에 할 때 좀 세게 때리지 말아야 되겠죠.
자 마지막으로
So,
응원해주신
last
팬들에게
ball,
한마디 부탁드립니다.
would you like to say your thanks to your
항상 응원
fans?
진짜 너무 열심히 해주셔서 감사드리고
Well, thank you guys for
한
cheering
시즌
me.
딱 쉬고 와서 좋은 모습 보여드려서 다행인 것
After
같아요.
taking a
아직
one-season break,
건강한
I'm
것도
happy that I could
확실히
deliver a
보여드린
good
것 같고,
performance.
이번 시즌도
And
우승이
this season,
한번 이제
I will
2명
try
남았으니까
to achieve
우승컵 가져올 수
the
있도록
championship
하겠습니다.
and get my trophy.
자 오늘 8강 경기 다시 한번 승리
Once again,
축하드리고요.
congratulations
고맙습니다.
on winning
감사합니다.
tonight's match. Thank you.
자 이렇게 해서 세 번째
Alright, well, we
4강
got Flash in
진출자
the final
이영호
four.
선수와
We're going to
함께했습니다.
be back on Tuesday, by the way, for the last part of the round of 8.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome to see. I can't wait to see what Saxry has prepared for him. Of course, tonight we saw Flash 3-1 light. It was just a great set of matches. Great games.
Yeah.
Wonderful TVTs. These two are amazing. And Flash, of course, on his relentless stomp to the finals.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of really scary players in his path.
Yeah.
I mean, Light really did hold his own here against Flash.
If you actually make a short list of who the two scariest players in the world for Flash to play against, it's actually Rain and Snow.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not even making that up. Those are the scariest players for him, and then probably last after that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So on the other side of the bracket, Snow versus Action. Snow's really upgraded his PBZ, but we'll see what Action can pull off here. Action versus Sharp was a pretty bumpy match compared to our other games here, so we'll see what Action brings coming up there. But on Tuesday, same time as usual, 7 p.m. KST, Rain versus Saxry.
Yeah. Saxry is underrated right now, I think. He's really strong. He's been practicing hard. Excited to see what he brings against Rain. Rain, I don't think his best matchup is PVZ, but he's really good and really smart at it, so I'm not really worried about him. I do think he'll be able to come out on top there.
Yeah, he pretty easily slaughters basically every Zerg that he encounters. He's again, he looks so natural, so comfortable.
Yeah, but his PVZ is so bad compared to his PvP, you know what I mean?
Well, his PvP is just untouchable. It's actually, it's comical.
Yeah. Overwatch, Neoground Zero, Neo Sylphid, Tripod, New Bloody Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, man. I'm actually quite looking forward to that match. If Saxry wins that, what a legend.
Now, I want to give you guys a quick reminder. We're giving away mouse pads, fans, the Carbot skins, and jerseys.
Yeah, all because it's Tasteless' birthday today.
That's right. That's what I did. That was my idea.
That was his idea today.
So yeah, do come down if you can, and if you're here in the show, stay after it's done. Once everybody starts to take down the set, they do announce the numbers. I guess it's supposed to match your seat, if I understand correctly. And you can win something.
Take a number.
Yeah.
So, this was great tonight. This was fun. Thank you. Thank you to just
we finally
Fate
got to
for
do
giving me a
TVT.
TVT finally.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We love you. We'll
Chillin', everything will feel the same, feel the same. I just gotta know, how come when I pull up, I'm like, here we go again, go again. That's why I just gotta know, why we ain't been different, why I feel the same. Every time we kick it, we just can't get with it. Ain't no fixing, here we go again with another lie that's told in vain. Avoid the pain, even though we need to say goodbye. Feed the same, so codependent, this hurting, been open